Welcome. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show, Winners and Losers Show, starring Hank Thompson, hosted by Hank Thompson, featuring Hank Thompson and you, the viewers like you, sponsored by you. Thank you for tuning in. What a day. Terrible start. That's how we do it. That was my 16th try. No, it's my second. But here we go again. Doing it again. Wow. Not going to do a 5-hour show today. No way. What a mistake. Stupid. Banging another one out, though. I got my turnaround time up drastically from the last one as far as doing the full recording, then editing that, then getting the clips made. So I really burned my butt this last week or so doing the things, because what I thought was a very important video. Oh, shit, I got the wrong damn thing on there. What I thought was a very important video is this me reacting to Cenk cackling with hate upon hearing my name. Well, first he barfs at hearing my name. Francesca then says, "But Hank was such a great guy," and then Cenk cackles with cowardly hate, because if he had said anything, it would have drawn more attention to the project. So, and actually, we're sort of doing not a follow up, but Cenk was asked again about the union busting, about being a union guy, an anti-union guy, or maybe not. Maybe he doesn't think he is anti-union, despite the oceans of evidence that I have been so diligently and annoyingly putting on the internet wherever I can find a place to do that. So that's going to be most of this one, is reacting, watching this appearance. It was on a podcast called Generational Change, Jen, not Gen. And yeah, we'll get a good take on that. I had seen that show around on YouTube around, so I'm not unfamiliar with these with the show. Not that I've watched it a ton or anything, but they seem all right. You know, they seem cool. Everybody comes at this whole world from different perspectives and angles and stuff. I find it kind of obnoxious sometimes. It seems so much. I think there's validity to the criticism, although I don't think this is unique to the left in any stretch. I would argue that the conservative project is far and away much more about conformity than the left is, which is one of the fundamental problems of the left. But nevertheless, I think there's a lot of psychology underpinning what people perceive as being purity testing. So that's it. That's that. Yeah. So yeah, we'll get to that in a second here. Yeah, just that 5-hour one. The clip I made from the podcast is a 3-hour clip. So now I got to do clips from the clip. Because but I'm referring to this one right here. Yeah, that one. Great thumbnail, though. I think the thumbnail is solid. By the way, tip for you Photoshoppers out there: if you ever want to make someone's eyes glow, white in the middle. Always go bright white in the middle. Do a couple of different blurs. Can stack up a few layers. Play with the blend modes. But if you just do your color green and then a green solid in the middle, it doesn't look right. All color at its brightness, when it's super bright, blanks out to white. Everything does, no matter what color. It just gets so bright, it becomes solid white. And at least that's the functionality for a Photoshop thing. So that's why it looks so good there. I'd actually experimented. Oh, geez. So on the middle shot there of Cenk, I'd put a little bit of green on the eyes. This is sort of like as if he was like getting ready to hit the blast, but it worked better the way this one does. So getting some views for a channel with my view count. By the way, everybody, thank you for new listeners. Please give the podcast a chance. Check the description for ways to support. You can buy me a coffee. There's a link for that, or PayPal or Patreon. I'm working 8-10 hour days on this project, and a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes that are keeping me very busy. So even though I'm not consistently putting output there, there's a ton of energy being spent on this thing. And yeah, so, and not to mention, if you've watched that 84-minute video, the two chunks of the film comprising 84 minutes, that's 2 years of work. That's 2.5 years of labor in those 84 minutes. So consider maybe throwing a few bones my way for that one. If you've ever given Steven Spielberg $16 for a crappy movie, give me $5 for a very entertaining movie. I hate the money degrades us all. Aren't we sick of being poisoned by this fucking shit? We're all poisoned by it. How much time did you miss your parents when you were a kid because they had to go out there and serve some capitalist so they could afford to buy you those Legos you all got tricked into thinking are cool? I love Legos, by the way. They are actually quite a smart, good design, just good engineering, and they committed to it. That they wanted a 1960s Lego to fit with a 2017 Lego. They made a conscious decision to do something. Anyway, great company, but nevertheless, we're killing ourselves with this plastic. So that's okay. Don't feel guilty about it. I mean, we're all guilty. We're all complicit, but they got the little people. I guarantee you, when I throw away a plastic bottle or something plastic that comes in all the delivery containers, and I don't get, I can't afford it. I don't do delivery. I always go get stuff or I cook myself. Been a pot pie kick lately, but I feel bad putting stuff in the garbage. But that moment of feeling contains far more guilt and complicity and accountability and responsibility for the planet's health and future than any bit, and the sum total of all the billionaires combined in terms of their contribution to how the world is being destroyed. And they're the ones who can control the planet destroying knobs and dials. They're the ones actually doing it. So don't beat yourself up too bad about it. I mean, you know, don't just use it willy-nilly. I see those YouTube videos. I'm just going all over the place here. Sorry. Once I get started, I can't stop. You know, you see those reels and shit. Some dumbass buys, 100,000 plastic balls like in a ball pit and then floods his little pond so he can ride his scooter. What do they call those? Water scooter? What jet ski, and hit them and make a vid. It's stuff like that is horrible. It's gross. You using plastic in your food acquisition, wouldn't it be nice if we could shift towards a more organic, the concept of an organic presence on the planet is where we need to evolve towards, even if we can modify capitalism towards something that's a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? Less evil. But even if we get to full socialism, we are still overproducing, overconsuming as a species. Like we still have this planet-wide engineering issue to solve, and working together is the only way we're going to get there. Thus, we need to model and we need to head towards social models and economic models that are built around cooperations and cooperative models that deprioritize profit. Doesn't mean they eliminate profit necessarily, but deprioritize. Then a stage maybe begins where we can create the conditions to even imagine getting rid of the money, but there's not getting rid of money. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. I'm starting to, I was thinking about that this morning about how, I think I think we do a bad job conveying that, from the left about what a socialist future might look like, is that there's still going to be capital. There's still going to be piles of money that shift around, and that we still need to be able to attract investors who want to return on some investments. That doesn't just stop. That doesn't just all just completely end. And there's still like the thing is, it would promote someone like me I have all kinds of ideas for businesses. I want to do an autism cartoon. That's not as if that's a business idea, but like I have all sorts of notions of starting businesses and coming up with ideas and stuff, and have kind of an entrepreneurial spirit. Not to mention I will never be able to work with other people again for the rest of my life because of the project. Other than partners and collaborators and stuff who share the cause. And but yeah, like we would like I think what people imagine capitalism is what business and enterprise would be under socialism, right? Just the idea that you would be rewarded for starting a business, for being the person who kicks off a restaurant in your community, or maybe I don't think dentistry should be a business, to be honest. I'm not that dentists shouldn't be well paid, but the idea that people become medical professionals because of capitalism, I think, is disgusting. Like when people choose their field of medicine based on which business they could best offer, I find that kind of gross. I think that's very gross, actually. Not, I think that's a natural outcome of the kind of world we have currently. Oh, God damn it. If I do this, I'm just going to end up forever talking. So let's get to the freaking show. Yep. Replace the pants with towels and pants. I just put towels on top of some of the pants back there, but I do have a little plant project. You can barely see it. It's actually just hidden in the towel slightly. I clipped out some plants from the shrimp tank. They grow out of water as well, and I just stuffed them into a Tupperware thingy, and I just filled it with dirt and filled it with water. So now I'm filming those, and I might make some TikToks. Huh? Wouldn't that be fun? Wicklock on TikTok. Wicklock is my winners and losers TikTok, and I'm going to start posting stuff up there on the about the documentary and the TYT stuff. I'm fucking sick of this shit. I'm so tired of it. It's such a nightmare. It's so it's so just I'm just I know there's people on the internet, and if you're following this show and you're finding my channel, thanks for watching. Appreciate your attention and all that. And I'm making a documentary about the time I've worked at TYT, as well as mainly centered around the unionizing effort and the lie that Cenk told his audience that outsiders started the union in order to harm his campaign. I think we're going to be getting into some of that, actually, from what I can tell. It's the interview that we're about to look at later in the show here is the most he's talked about it. So I will be reacting live. I haven't seen it yet. I scanned I'll get to that. But yeah, so the documentary covers this whole story and these details, and ultimately, I'm hoping that it transcends TYT. It inevitably, in order for this project to succeed, it's going to have to go through phases of growth in terms of attention. Like in as we are in now, and probably going to be in for a while, but hopefully eventually it kind of launches out of this, is the TYT online drama bubble. There's a lot going on with the way TYT is doing their pivot, with the way Anna's politics are shifting, the way Cenk is changing his messaging approach, seemingly to try to get the Pentagon to cut their budget or something. Maybe he's given up on that effort. Not that he wouldn't try it now. I don't, whatever. It's just ridiculous. And so, yeah, so a lot of criticisms are flowing around in that world. And my whole project is included in this, but also I have I started working for TYT in 2013. I was a paying member 2008 or 2009. Played some role in the lore that goes way back. So like and I didn't off and on between 2013 and 2020 when I was laid off about a month before the union came forward. And so yeah, so I have like a different perspective, or at least you can at least look at. I don't know if I'd say insider, but way more insider than any commentary host who has some shit to say about it all. And I used to do some on-camera stuff at TYT as well, so you could say I was a contributor too. But I was never enough where anybody developed a parasocial sort of thing where that goes a long way in getting people's attention for sure if they've already kind of seen your face and shit. I mean, a few people have been like, "Oh yeah, I remember you from the Friday post games and stuff." I'm like, "Yeah, so yeah, all right, well, like and subscribe, click the buttons, click the engagement." Click on like, go into the comments and upvote or click like on people's comments. That also helps the YouTube algorithm know. Nothing I talk about on YouTube is monetizable. I don't have ads turned on or monetization turned on. I think I qualified at 500 subscribers or something. But I'm talking genocide. I'm talking about, today I've been away from doing news and stuff more and more, and that's going to be the case until this documentary is finished. If you're looking for me as a source for your news, you're not that. I'll do it. It's not. Don't think of me like that. But not in terms of when I do talk about news. Am I trying to adhere to some good faith effort to get my information correct? I'm not saying I'm not doing that. I'm saying like, I'm not like a guy who's like, did you see Trump today? Did you see what this happened today? This was yesterday. Oh my God. Some of that is inevitable when you do a show, but this is a podcast. It's like a week, not even weekly. It's, it's a messy, sloppy, shitty podcast. So there's so many other better sources than that. So that's not I guess maybe I'd say I do analysis and commentary and rambling. What was I saying though? And forgetting. I do a lot of forgetting. So did it settle on your peasants deserve better? I did 3 test thumbnails for that, for the Hassan video here. This one's really interesting. Someone left a comment that I'm going to react to or respond to in a bit. So, yeah, shit, I lost the train of that thought. But I think I was just trying to say like I'm eager to be finished with the TYT stuff. Even though the more it succeeds, the less the further away that day comes where I don't have to even talk about these goddamn people. I'm so tired of looking at Cenk Uygur's stupid face. Honestly, I'm sure he's tired of thinking about my stupid balls in his mouth as well. Can't blame him. So okay, where are we at here? Bunch of tweets basically to just kind of sift through real fast. We're gonna talk Nancy Reagan. Sorry, I get Nancy Pelosi. She's the master stock trader. Trump got his billions. I did have a conversation with my dad. He's not a Trumpy, like a MAGA at the rallies type guy, but he does have a loyalty to the Republicans, which is, I'm trying to, he doesn't seem to like that he made billions of dollars in a day or two, comparatively to Hunter Biden's $100,000 a month, which was also very corrupt. Or, you know, when you talk to conservatives, you sort of have to hammer at the Democrats a bunch. That's the way that they like open their windows. It's like the defensiveness is very powerful. But if you go, Nancy Pelosi's fucking insider trading, she deserves to go to jail. Joe Biden should rot in prison for God murdering God. Hunter Biden's like $100,000 a month for Burisma. And then they're like, oh, open the window. Let this bee in. Let this weird bee banging on my window into my room. And then you try to plant seeds of allowing them to maybe eventually figure things out. But my dad has a good heart. And I actually, something we're going to look at in a bit here is for a video I'm making for my dad, because he had only seen the still. And I think, yeah, so it's not about my dad. But like the gaslighting around Elon Musk's Nazi salute is truly something to behold. Like, to see that and to be told, we're going to get to it. So anyway, the monetization. Sorry, it just came back. All the topics I talk about are algorithm death, unions, labor, TYT, fucking genocide, all this horrible stuff, anti-capitalism, socialism, communism. And not that I'm going on and on about those topics in real specificities, although ultimately that's the project we're working on, is to trying to get people to, I just want workers to have more agency over their lives. I don't think it's much more complicated than that. As I said last week, no matter what you call yourself, no matter what any of those things boil down to, whatever label you think applies, there's only two things going on here. Do you support leverage for bosses or leverage for workers? Does this policy increase a worker's leverage, or does it increase a boss's leverage? And very broadly defined, leverage includes, are you just getting enough fucking sleep? Do you have to, how worried are you about your life? What else, any bit of someone having to expend energy reeling from this evil system is advantageous to the bosses, because tired people don't form unions or revolt. Desperate people sometimes do. And people take actions when they're facing dire circumstances. But ultimately, everything boils down to sources, all the way to root codes down to, does this help the boss or hurt the boss? That's why they like healthcare being connected to your employer, because that's a way of controlling people. And it limits the freedom that imposes on some people, where they can't leave a job because they have their family might be on the health plan and their wife has to get the medicine that's super expensive, but it's the only way they can access the life-saving drugs. And you're held hostage to these people. So increasing worker agency can only happen by increasing worker leverage. That's the filter that it all comes down to. I don't know if it ever gets more simple than that, other than the idea of trying to just, well, I do have a theory of entropy that I do want to work on too, because, yeah. Anyway, that's a whole nother thing. All right, so let's just jump over. Okay, that's my opening ramble. Thanks for dialing in, everybody. Appreciate your support. Stay tuned. Thanks for your patience too. I know maybe you think I'm not working on this stuff, but I'm telling you, man. And I'm walking, by the way. Not eating super great, but just only eating, like, I eat one meal a day generally, and so I'm not like losing weight at the rate that I'd like, but I've been walking a bunch. I even lifted weights. I know I said my ramble is over, but I just a couple more things loaded up. I did a little weightlifting, and I used my weightlifting gloves that have a wrap for my wrist, and then thinking that might be enough, and I didn't feel pain at the time. My left wrist is worse than my right, and then for the last 2 days though, I've had some wrist pain, even more than usual, like wrist pain. So I do want to continue to use my weights. I have some power blocks with the shifty things. You can change the weights for a single handle, and they're really, really great. They've been completely neglected for so long. I used to do a lot of weightlifting in college. I was a guy who could curl 60 pounds in one arm, each arm. One arm. Yeah. Only my left. My right arm I never used. I just did my, but no, yeah, there was one other dude who could do 60 pounds in one arm, and we would kind of be like respectful nods for each time, the whole time. No, but yeah, I would warm up on 40s. So I want to get, not that that's my goal, but I was a beefy boy. I had some rib eyes growing on me. Never really did much deadlifting or whatever they call this one, bench pressing. I mean, I did that, but I wasn't like working on my PR, bro. But muscle's healthy. I'm in my 40s. The secret to being somewhat not gross and horrible when you're old is bringing muscle into your 40s and your 50s and your 60s, is keeping flexibility. So that's my tip for you. I mean, if you listen to it, you will live a long, happy life. Aren't you lucky? Like and subscribe. Here we go. Update. Kamala Harris had this giant long arm that we all had fun with. I did a video called A Guy Reacts. Is it even visible here? Yeah, that's it though. It's been looking at it. 60 views, big time number. Oh, what the fuck? Where did the rest of it go? Oh, I see. It closes. Okay. And I just wanted a quick update. Is that someone left a comment saying they think it's camera processing that made the arm long, and I think that's the answer to our mystery here. I don't think she has an arm where the lower half from the elbow down, it's roughly equal size, isn't it? I mean, your arm, your elbow. If you take out the hand, your upper arm and lower arm are roughly the same. By the way, isn't the twisting amazing? You ever think about how cool it is that we have these two curved bones that lets you do like a whole thing? Like my wrist injury hurts like but I can twist my arm. Isn't that cool? So her arm it can't be this long. So I think it's camera processing. I do believe that that's probably what it was. So you can update your files. You can update your Thanksgiving letter for this year to make sure that nobody's confused. Democrats are fighting back. The Kamala post was from the Democrats. Let's jump over to and I gave the shrimp a bath, by the way. Check out how clean it looks in there. They're all up in the trees hanging out. Let's go big. Oh yeah, I love it when it works. So the Democrats, I know we're all worried about the takeover, about Trump's power grabs, about him simply insisting that literally everything in the entire government must reflect his impulses. It's not how the presidency should operate, not how it's designed to operate. It's a complete, it's a deliberate infliction of psychological abuse on the population by hitting them with so much chaos and disarray that people can't find their footing. They can't orient themselves. And so that the response is just, all over the place, and nobody can really marshal a response. But don't worry though, there are some fighters. We do have some people pushing back. We got the Democrats. We got Chuck Schumer. God damn it! Now I gotta look up that thing. We got Chuck Schumer. We got these two geezers. Sorry, the photos. This is from something I couldn't find that's the quickest photo I could find of that. So don't worry. The people who lost to Trump twice, who incubated his rise, producing when you fight a boss in a video game and they go through stages and you like get them down to like a third of their health low, or 2/3 down or 1/3 down, you know what I mean? And then they go, and like the snake hair becomes like dragons, and then like the swords become guns, and then they're like, and now you have to like figure out a different pattern to fight the boss. That's what the Democrats did for Donald Trump with Joe Biden, with this desiccated, disgusting, horrible, old, evil monster, Joe Biden, insisting that his shit for brains, like I've seen fucking rotten bananas with more intelligence than this guy. Good line, Hank. Not really. But they knew that was this one of the greatest scandals, or just at least a dereliction of duty, is for the entire apparatus of the Democratic Party, sclerotic as they all are, to insist that with those Pod Save America motherfuckers helping them out the whole way, the Rachel Maddow's not also, and that whole thing, insisting that Biden's fine. Biden's brain is good. He's the leader we need. He's the man for the moment. He's the new FDR. Meanwhile, his brain on the inside is like a pear that has I don't want to be too gross. I was going to talk about insects and stuff. It's just a completely, anyway. So it's a gift to the Republicans. That's the most important asset, by far the most important asset that the Republicans have. I gave up on the sarcasm, by the way, is the Democrats, is the weakness of these feckless fucking losers. And so let's just listen to Chuck Schumer. This is January. We wanted to start with this. So here's one of the pushbacks. We might be a little worried though, honestly, if this was in response to the inauguration. So it says January 18th. I move this over a bit easier to see it. In response to the inauguration, it was cold, and they moved it inside. Of course, it's because Donnie didn't want his crowd to be noticed for how small it was, and so he solved a lot of his problems for that, moving it indoors. Whatever, who cares? And of course, it's you know, the billionaires walking around there are the most offensive. People are offended by the J6 people wandering around inside the Citadel of Liberty, as Stephen Colbert called it emotionally on the night of, or one of those week around that time, when no one's offended by the presence of the corporations in there that are just milking this country, that are just harvesting people's souls so that fucking assholes on Wall Street can see their little quarterly reports go up and make their even bigger asshole boss marginally less annoyed, because the pressure never stops, because they're all I just hate it. But anyway, here's the pushback the Democrats had for Donald Trump, because he wanted to keep his little weenie from becoming completely inverted. Here we go.
We saw Trump moved his inauguration indoors because he can't handle the cold. So we made him a custom sweatshirt.
Oh, damn.
Nice and cozy. Stay warm, Donald.
Yeah!
We saw Trump.
You hear that, Donald? Stay warm, motherfucker! That's what's gonna happen. They're gonna help! This is what they did. This is what what are they thinking? Look at this. Here's how you know they're real serious. This is how you know that there's a real resistance movement being fomented and formed by the brave heroes who will keep us going into the dark. They will strike the fires and maintain the embers of our souls as we face the darkest days ahead.
Because
an emoji, like it's not an emoji. What do they call the face, the text, the pre-emojis? These are like the salamanders of emojis, right? The colon, the dash, the left bracket, indicating a frown of some sort, I think. Couldn't even do the fucking snowflake emoji in the goddamn text. How about, by the way, how about some outer glow or some drop shadow on this text, you stupid assholes? You could even do just a straight up black shape behind it with a slight opacity. You could put a stroke on the shape. I'm getting ready to do Photoshop lessons, by the way, everybody. I literally am. I honestly, there's a thing, and I found it, and now I want to just quit the entire project. And
he can't handle the
yeah, I would be really good at teaching Photoshop. By the way, hit me up in the comments.
Cold. So we made him a custom sweatshirt.
Yes.
Nice and cozy.
Nice and cozy.
Stay warm, Donald.
Yeah, Donald. Oh, they did put an emoji in there. What the hell? Well, now I don't know what to make of anything. Is anything even real? Yeah, so Democrats doing that. Here's Chuck Schumer pushing back. This is January 28th, 2025. Look at how powerful we are, right? So put on an extra pair of panties, because you're gonna need all the wicking you can get. Here we go.
Last night, President Trump plunged the country into chaos without a shred of warning. The Trump administration announced a halt to virtually all federal funds.
I put down my hammer building a wooden boy in my lab shop. Of course, I don't have the skills for it, so I just have a paper towel holder with a couple of eyeballs on it.
Across the country. In an instant.
For some reason, I think he looks. That's a Geppetto, like, because of his glasses down on his nose. Like, that didn't make it. We'll workshop that one back at the Comedy Ranch.
Donald Trump has shut off billions, perhaps trillions of dollars that directly support states, cities, towns, schools, hospitals, small businesses, and most of all, American families. This is a dagger at the heart of the average American family in red states, in blue states, in cities, in suburbs, in rural areas.
In the skies, in the mountains, in the halls of the dwarves, deep beneath the earthen hills, in the hobbit holes, and in the Valinor, in the Numenor.
Funds for things like disaster assistance, local law enforcement, rural hospitals, aid to the elderly, food for people in need.
Eyeglass grease.
All are on the chopping block in this new administration. Why? They need tax cuts for the ultra
And so their plan is just to let it all happen so that they can scare you and then they can run on it. That's the playbook that they've always used, and it'll probably work to some degree. There's already an election. I'm not saying it's a good idea. I'm just saying that there's already been an election, a special election somewhere where it was a heavy Trump district and it flipped to a Democratic guy in Iowa somewhere. That was yesterday. I didn't look too closely at it, but so be inspired. More from Chuck. Oh, this is earlier today. Ken Klippenstein, former coworker of mine. People are aroused. Oh, let's not read it. Let's just let you experience it the way the original director intended.
People are aroused. I haven't seen people so aroused in a very, very long time in terms of going.
That's how I felt when my impotence ended. Ooh, lady.
Trying to get this done. So, yes, I think democracy will have an effect, and we are going to keep at it.
Okay, we're going to go. The glasses down. Unbelievable. The project, like the resistance we need to. I keep got to stop holding the mic because that's just. I need a better. It's all busted. Okay. The resistance that we need, the thing we need to do first is to decapitate the party leadership of the Democratic Party. And I know people want to just completely destroy the Democratic Party. I'm for that too. I'm not saying I'm against that at all. I don't know how we do either of these things necessarily, but the Democrats are genocidal maniacs. The supporters, not your average run-of-the-mill American. Although we've all been conditioned to tolerate immense violence and immense torture and immense harm, especially on people who have brown skin and throughout the world who we have deemed unworthy of safety and who we can abuse. Yes, I'm talking about Gaza. So, like, the fact that the Democratic Party ran on, Kamala ran on continuing the genocide is the most lethal fighting force in the this demonic scream. These fucking evil people. The fact that their supporters weren't like, whoa, this is not a deal. We were like, didn't rise up and say, stop the genocide. It tells you everything you need to know, right? It's just, for some people, it might have just been like, foreign policy. I don't know. It's just so. And it also does seem like the news anywhere. If you're not really paying very close attention to the world and the way the media, of course, has played a massive role in tricking people and obfuscating and hiding and using clever words to make it seem like, girl dies as gunfire breaks out. And it's like, no, a sniper shot that girl in the head. And it's really, stuff like that. So a little bit more here. Okay, so this feeds us into what the Democratic Party is, the rot that is at the top of it, that we all have to do. Oh God, no. that we have to deal with these people. And no wonder we're in the state that we're in. And this really illustrates how truly devoted to the same project, to the same neoliberal extractive capitalism, pull yourself up by your bootstraps bullshit society that has benefits people like Nancy Pelosi to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars. The Clintons to the tunes of hundreds of millions. They all got paid big money. The Clintons made I don't know what they are now, but this is old data. But they're worth over $100 million, mostly from giving speeches after Bill was president and Hillary became a senator and a secretary of state, and they've had off and on government roles too. That kind of corruption is quaint compared to what Trump is doing with his meme coin scheme. He's stealing from his own supporters. In that case, he's just straight up robbing those people when he finally pulls the rug on that one. They call it a rug pull. But to give you more of a sense of why we're in such a horrible state here is that this is who the opposition is. This is who has been pushing for this is the leadership that we are trapped with, and they're cultivating a younger generation of ghouls that aren't going to do any better. They might be slightly more in tune. I think Pete Buttigieg knows how to send an email, probably. So look forward to Pete Buttigieg with the mustache, because that's the only legacy we're going to get out of these fucker people. But listen to this.
Take back your party. The country needs a big, strong Republican Party. Here I say that as a leader in the Democratic Party, but we need a big, strong Republican Party. You've done so much for our country.
You do so good. Your country, you're big, strong. You have all the strength and the prey. Like, why are you saying that? It's fine if you don't want to say, hey, these guys are evil and they're horrible. Like, you could take tactical communications and stuff like that. You know, I would prefer somebody who was more forward and direct, obviously. But the whole, like, this is what we need to do. I do kind of remember, I think this was during the Trump time. It's just like, oh, he's so offensive. Because Trump is mask off America. He's everything in America, that all the horrible traits about America boiled up into one person. There's a word for that I can't think of. It was a word I saw remember when there was like clowns? There was a brief little, I don't know, maybe it was just my filter, my algorithm bubble. I feel like it was 5 or 6 years ago. But all of a sudden there's like like one was on like holding on to the back of a bus or something, and there was like just scary clowns being. It could have been just some weird constellation of some weird confluence where, like, you know, random clown stories just happen to hit like a Boltzmann brain of clowns. Quantum, cosmological reference for you there. And so there's a term that it's like indicates a cultural and societal manifestation or something like that. That I can't, and it was such a cool word. If you know, let me know in the comments. But Trump is that. Trump is this Gollum's not the right word, but like Trump is this monstrous creation that is like a physical embodiment of the hypocrisy and the stupidity and the narcissism and the violence and the belligerence of America, of the rotten core of American society. And the thing that we've all been conditioned so powerfully to never think about, or to be offended by even the notion of it. Ban the Pledge of Allegiance. I don't want to live in a country that brainwashes children into nationalism. I knew a dude in high school from Germany who was an exchange student. Very nice guy. He would talk like this, and we would go to Taco Bell and stuff, and this is sort of how he sounded. This is what I don't know. I don't want to say his name. It's from the, you know, I went to high school in the 1700s, and we asked him about the Nazi stuff. We said, don't you guys like learn? Don't they teach you a ton of stuff about that? And it's like a warning or something. And he agreed. He confirmed it, and he said that the most Nazi things he's ever seen is based on all his education in Germany about what happened back then. The most Nazi thing he had seen was when he came to America and saw us doing the Pledge of Allegiance and the way we do our national anthem. I didn't see nothing, but the way you guys are here, it's just the national anthem was just like, I was like, whoa, damn, let's go to Taco Bell. Oh, that's crazy, dude. More from Democratic leadership. We need a Republican Party. We need an opposition that's principled and strong. Why do we need an opposition that's principled and strong? They always want the option to jump to the other party. They always want the option to court their party's stoners. They always want the option to, or their whole mission is about affirming right-wingers as being within the realm of reasonable people to have power. They're incredibly effective. They're just as effective at that as they are at keeping progressives and lefties out of power. That's the real project. The Democrats, the service that they perform, when I say that they're an asset to the Republicans, it's not just that they're a feckless, sclerotic, dying, disgusting, evil, violent bunch of milquetoast liars, unorganized, undisciplined, a total mess. It's not just that. It's not just that they're the Washington Generals to the Republicans. It's that they're a mangrove field. They're a buffer. In order for lefties to get power and lefties to get anything close to influencing government, we have to burrow through this outer wall, and that's the Democrats. They serve as a firewall to the Democrats, which is protective of the Republican project. So they've been nurturing. They're this nutrient-dense womb that produces this fascism we're seeing now, because it is fascism. It's not like fascism just showed up in America. It's always been here. It's just that they're now we're finally going for it in a dictator playbook kind of way, which is horrifying, and everybody's spiraling into madness because of the phone addictions we all have, and our attention spans are being destroyed. This is 6 minutes. I don't know if I want to watch it, but here we go.
And you have called for unity and healing in this.
By the way, this is dated January 9th, 2021. So this was a little bit before this was well into Joe Biden's decline, but also not nearly as bad as he was in the last 2 or 3 years.
Country. But after the events of Wednesday, does that make your job easier or harder?
I think it makes my job easier, quite frankly. I've had a number of my Republican colleagues, former colleagues.
My best friend, Strom Thurmond, we would get fitted for our KKK hoodies down at the KKK hut. The hut down there in the racism district. We always had a great time. Mitch and I got an oil massage together down there. The greatest night of my life.
Served in the Senate for a long time.
We served.
Call me. Many of them are as outraged and disappointed and embarrassed and mortified by the president's conduct as I am and Democrats are. And I think I have said from the beginning, and I have not changed my view, my overarching objective is
a strong Republican party.
Unify this country. We must unify the country. And I think that you've heard me say this before, and I apologize for repeating myself, but understandably the questions are repetitive and good. I mean, I'm not being critical of
Get to the point.
And that is that there's two ways people are inspired. By
Oh.
inspirational leaders and by terrible leaders. By terrible leaders.
No. Egg rolls. If you tell me there's an egg roll at the end of something, I will go for it. I had Jenny's last night. It was really fun. I loved it.
What this president has done is rip the Band-Aid all the way off to let the country know who he is.
They want to put the Band-Aid back on because that's how they can sustain. The Trumpism of America needs to be operating underneath. I do think we're entering something much worse in terms of what they're approaching here, though, by the way. I'm not saying but...
and what he's about and how thoroughly unfit for office he is. And you see already a number of Republicans. But I've worked in the United States Senate. I spoke with Mitt Romney. This is about speaking to somebody as strong. Here, strong. And I think they understand that they're going to have to, we need a Republican Party. We need an opposition that's principled and strong.
Why?
And I think...
Why is that something that is important to you, Joe? Because they have this ridiculous notion that they're trying to appeal to Rachel Maddow's college thesis brain. Someone who thinks that the world is just built for these great men and these great women. Sure, not as great as, not that that's Rachel Maddow's thesis, but like the kind of notion that the governing bodies, the venerating these institutions, acting like this isn't just some giant fucking scam, some huge criminal enterprise that is a cosmic criminal to harvest your labor, to force you to live your precious, beautiful soul, this thing you have, this entropic accident, this bundle of information that's stored in your brain, that comes from your DNA, that is operated through this biological meat vessel, that is a detector that is filled with information detectors. All you do is move through fields of electromagnetic radiation, absorbing them through your eyes, your ears, your skin, your hair. We have physical, that too, and then processing through your brain, and your reality all lives within that. And we try to live within the same reality. And the meaning of life is to experience human joy. I said it. That's what it is. It's not more complicated than that. It's to have a day where you get to be with people you like and people you enjoy being around. Or in my case, people I enjoy not being around, because I need to be away from people to decompress, because I can't turn off my ability to this autism shit. And they took all that. They took all your potential. This one little thing you get. I don't believe in the eternality of the soul. I think it's like a tightly wound thing that just unwinds all at once. And you live on in the other people. Your energy transmits to them. I'm open to the possibility that consciousness, maybe, I'm not, because I can't rule that out fully, but consciousness, get ready. This is going to blow your mind. Consciousness is your body's abstract organ for detecting consciousness. That's what consciousness is. Consciousness is your body's organ that it uses to detect consciousness, including your own consciousness. Oh, damn. I'll talk more about that on TikTok one of these days. And they took all this cosmic glory, this wonderful thing. You look at a map of the Milky Way and there's one little bright dot. as far as we can tell so far. I'm sure there's probably others. There should be, there must be, there probably has been, there will be for sure. There's one little dot where this environment, the rarity of the environment, I'm tapping my head. And I have a big old consciousness. I live in this fucking nightmare consciousness of mine. This fractal circus fucking thing, caging tigers all day, trying to keep my head on straight. My goddamn neighbor's wind chimes are in my brain now that I got rid of the cat. My brain focuses on the wind chimes. It's so horrible. But it can be a cool place too, and we deserve to be radiating in each other's peaceful, harmonic vibes. That's all it needs to be, and they're gonna blink that shit out because they need their little papers to show that they have a little bit more money on their stupid fucking computers at Wall Street. The competitive ego-proofing of sociopaths is how you erase and giving those people power and prioritizing their ability to buy Lexuses in 17 million years is how you destroy consciousness from the universe. And we're going to allow it to happen. Animals also have their versions of it. I do think, though, that human beings are like a phase shift different, though. I do believe there's something different going on. And the cutoff there is basically abstraction, is holding symbolic meaning inside your consciousness, which is what humans do really well. I imagine animals probably do have some degree of that too, but nothing like what humans do. Isn't reading awesome? I did actually read a little bit. Let's keep going. No, let's go to the next one. Oh yeah, this is Pelosi. By the way, transcript search, guys. Go to the description. Almost all YouTube videos these days. Click on show transcript. They don't all have them, but usually they do. Then just Control F, and you can find all kinds of stuff. I do a ton of research for the TYT project like this. I don't sit there and watch all this fucking shit all the time. I mean, I click around, or then you can scan the transcript. Yeah. So learn to do that if you're, for some reason. Here's Pelosi. Guess who she thinks we need more? Guess her favorite person to quote.
Talking about the dreamers, let us remember what President Reagan said.
Oh, yes.
In his last speech.
Hold me, Alzheimer's daddy. Hold me.
As President of the United States. I urge you all to read it. It's a beautiful speech.
Oh, you can't wait to find out.
He said, if we ever close the door to new Americans, our leadership role in the world will soon be lost. Ronald Reagan.
Good. Yeah! What a fucking joke. Fuck this shit. By the way, wear condoms, get birth control, support abortion, don't feel guilty. We don't need new Americans, okay? Close the door to new Americans, okay? Put a condom on, goddammit. Or do it the other, there's other methods too. And it's been years. It's been fucking years, man. Jesus. Markwayne Mullin. I don't even know what this is, but it's 1 minute and 18 seconds long. We're going to watch it.
But you so quickly forget about that. And then Senator Kaine, or I guess I better use this.
Oh, that's right. It was Secretary of Defense. Yeah, I did know that. It was Pete Hegseth, the drunken sexual abuser whose own mom wrote about how horrible a guy he is. Who's a Fox News host, has some background in the military, has white nationalist tattoos all over his body, and he's confirmed now, by the way. This is from January 14, 2025. I just had this in my bookmarks. We're not going to waste a lot of time on this. Let's keep going.
Senator from Virginia starts bringing up the fact that what if you showed up drunk to your job? How many senators have showed up drunk to vote at night?
Good point.
Have any of you guys asked them to step down and resign from their job? And don't tell me you haven't seen it, because I know you have.
We're all drunk. I'm drunk right now. I'm drunk on everything you can get drunk on. Not just the drunken drunk.
And then how many senators do you know have got a divorce before cheating on their wives? Did you ask them to step down?
By the way, what happened to this guy back there? Where did this guy here behind him?
But it's for show. You guys make sure you make a big show and point out the hypocrisy.
Is it like
because a man's made a mistake. And you want to sit there and say that he's not qualified? Give me a joke.
People have voted drunk in here all the time, and that's why it's okay to have the guy in charge of the world's most powerful, most lethal, most well-funded military to ever exist to also be drunk. Don't you get it? It's reasonable to be drunk because we are all drunk as much as we possibly can be.
I mean, it is so
give me money for my plumbing business. He's made like tens of millions of dollars. I covered him a while back. If you search the channel for Markwayne Mullin, you'll see him having a battle with Sean O'Brien, friend of the pod. Hopefully someday, the guy from who interviewed Hassan, where Hassan spread misinformation accidentally. about the union at the Young Turks. I did a video on that. Go check it out. But yeah, so this is not his first appearance on the channel, nor will it be his last.
Ridiculous that you guys hold yourself as this higher standard and you forget you got a big plank in your eye.
Oh.
We've all made mistakes.
Plank? Is that plank in the eye a thing? Plank. Sliver, I can understand. Shard, I could, yeah. Even piece. You could get a plank in the eye. What is a minimum size for a plank? That's got to be 4.5 inches left to right. You walk planks. That means they have to be big enough to hold a human body. Plank in the eye. What kind of madness is this? He's drunk.
I made mistakes. And Jennifer, thank you for loving him through that mistake.
Show Jennifer.
Because the only reason why I'm here and not in prison is because my wife loved me too.
I think did he have some drinking issue? I had a drinking issue too, so it's okay for me to make fun of him.
Is because my wife loved me too. Do that mistake. Because the only reason why I'm here and not in prison is because my wife loved me too.
See? That's why we need more women to keep us horrible men out of prison. Save us, women. Save us. You're the ones that are too emotional to be leaders. we need babysitters, not humans we can coexist with. I'm an adult man, baby. My wife.
I have changed.
There he is.
But I'm not perfect. But I found somebody that thought I was perfect. And for whatever reason, you love Pete, and I don't know why.
Look at the guy behind him. That's such like a dumb, like there's such a, just the whole like, can't believe my wife loved you. Like you get to kind of you get to put each other down as a compliment to the spouse. When I finally get the living domestic situation I pine for, which is 7 kitchen wives, all devoted to each other and to me and to our communities, and possibly even to their husbands, who can also visit whenever they want. We might even have separate bedrooms. We'll have shared bedrooms, separate bedrooms. I definitely need my own space to work on my podcasts. I want to have 7 pizza ovens in the backyard. No trampolines. We're not going to be a trampoline family. We'll go to a trampoline park. One of my kitchen wives, and by the way, they're not mine. I don't mean it as a possessive, but one of our fellow kitchen wives, I will be my dream is to be a house husband. I want to, no working for me. Sorry, can't do it. Can't deal with it. I can fix anything, although my wrists are fucked up now, so that sucks. That really lowers my scores on Hinge. And I'd be such a great house husband though, because I'd be so devoted to making sure that the pizza ovens are always producing pizzas, and we'll have pizza, and I'll be funny, and I'll do Valheim videos on Suck Professor. Check the description for links. Sorry, that's if you're not familiar with the show I've been doing. I'm posting some video game stuff too, because I need to not do this stuff. I need other things to, and that's my dream. That's my dream. And they will save me. And then someday I'll be yelling at another guy and saying, we're drunk. Me and my wives are always drunk. They saved me.
But you so quickly forget about.
We'll be drunk on love. Maybe one of them will be into Legos. We'll support that hobby. Fuck yeah. I'll fill a big bin up with soap and we'll wash them. We'll go buy some Legos at the thrift store and scrub them up. And then I'll get real anal about whether something has a sticker residue on it. Does anybody else get super weird about sticker residue? I can't stand sticker residue. It just kills me. All right, let's keep going. Oh, God. So we're not going to go deep on this. I have more to get to. I eventually will definitely talk about this, but this Nazi salute stuff is driving me absolutely bonkers. The gaslighting is unbelievable. Joe Rogan and Majority Report did a thing talking about Joe Rogan just acting like as if you're outrageous if you think that this isn't a Nazi salute, or if he thinks you're crazy if it is. Others, I saw Jimmy Dore even doing that, like unbelievable. And this is somebody made a comment on it or wrote about it on their private Instagram, like public, but like it wasn't on air either, and it would have been fine if it was, in my opinion. I want to live in a country that's hostile to Nazis, like fucking mean to Nazis and like really hostile. This is not tolerable. No making excuses for it. Someone in your family thinks it's like, oh, it's not a big deal. They are being dragged towards horrors. It's so disgusting that this is what's happening in our culture, in our society. The Nazis were inspired by America. They aspired to become something akin to American apartheid and American racial hegemony, racial supremacy. But this person got fired. Milwaukee TV weather forecaster. Look at him. Look at this fucking asshole. And he turns around and does it. What the hell? Oh, goddamn. You're telling me that's you giving out your heart? Kiss my ass. People are trying to tell you not to. What the fuck is this now? People, now the video's gone. I've seen enough Frozen Lake, Michigan. Okay, I used to live there. I was the woman who kept care of the sword buried at the bottom. Milwaukee TV forecaster has been dropped by her station one day after she criticized Elon Musk on social media for his straight arm gesture that may have been that many have likened to a Nazi salute. It was a Nazi salute. Staffers at WDJ-TV Channel 58 were alerted by email on Wednesday that meteorologist Sam Cuffle had left the station. Her biography and picture had been removed. So this is how power works. The guy is doing Nazi shit at the podium. Where the hell's the refresh? What the fuck? I'll just Control R then. All right, I got all the tricks. In front of the podium of the President of the United States. I'm not much for patriotism about this country. I feel patriotism about people, Americans, Mexicans, Canadians, Guatemalans, Brazilians, Chileans, Antarcticans, the penguins, of course, and the researchers doing the penguin research. South Africans, Zimbabweans, everybody. There's no difference between a woodworker in the United States and a woodworker in Morocco, and a woodworker in Japan, and a woodworker in Russia, and a woodworker in Brazil. Workers. That's like the concept of internationalism, and the concept of, it's not about a fealty to some greater government. It's about universal human experience. Although the Japanese woodworkers, honestly, they're better than the rest of us. Let's be honest. They got some cool fucking shit over there. They're pretty good. To be fair, some of the wood that they have very conducive to the type of woodworking that they do, which actually makes a lot of sense. They have cool wood. Woodworking in Japan is awesome. It's so cool. It's so fucking cool. They got these big saws. They're called whaleback saws, but the tradition of wood is amazing. I love wood. We have trees. The universe gave us trees, and we're gonna kill them all. Oversimplification, but we're gonna erase our consciousness from the universe, and then nothing exists that the universe can't record itself. So, why did I get into that? Meteorologist Sam Cuffle. So now people, just for putting something out about a guy doing a clear Nazi salute, and there's an instant reaction in support of the Nazi. That's America. That's the America we're in. Look, he turns around, does it. Give me a fucking break if you think that that's not what it is. And these guys traffic in trolling. They traffic in giving themselves a little outs. Oh, I was just joking, ha ha ha. They have all this, like, there's a lot, because so much of their frustration within our culture, within America, is that they've been forced to put it underground a little bit. That's why Donald Trump feels liberating to them, because he doesn't do that. He might be smart enough not to do this Nazi thing, but I'm curious to see if we're going to get the crowds doing it soon enough. He spoke at the AfD rally. That's the far-right party in Germany. He's been a big supporter of right-wing causes all over the world. They're looking. What Donald Trump wants to do is turn America into a Putin-style dictatorship, a model that is very profitable for the oligarchs and the bosses at the top. It offers them total control, and this is an early sign that they're getting there, that they're moving towards it. If somebody in a small market meteorologist on their Instagram doesn't like that this guy did a Nazi salute, and the media comes out and the bosses say, hey, look, you got to go. We got to defend the Nazi. Terrifying. Dishonors all those veterans. And the argument you need to use, I mean, you probably already seen this, and is do it. Just tell someone doing it, do it. Someone defending it, I mean. Okay, start, end your speeches with that. Say goodbye to your friends with that. You're giving your heart out, right? Then fucking do it. If you don't think this is what it is. Everybody knows what it is. Joe Rogan, do it. Start doing it. Jimmy Dore, do it. Make it part of your speech. If it's not what it obviously is. This is it here. So then they're posting. Already had it over an hour. God damn it. These videos. So I've gathered some of this footage. We're not going to watch a ton of it. But so then they're saying, oh, look, well, here's Hillary's arm up. Here's Elizabeth Warren's arm up. Here's, Kamala Harris. Here's Barack Obama. If we give up full range of motion to these monsters, I'm not going to do it, obviously, to show you. But the idea that people put their arms out and their arms go up and their hands down sometimes in certain ways happens constantly. Humans are just movie animals. We're just these big, weird, squiggly animals that are constantly going around and around till your wrists get all fucked up or something, until you need a nap. And even while you're napping sometimes. And so they're saying that, oh, this Elon doing this is the same as these folks up here and Barack Obama doing it here. But here's a video of the video. They only show the stills. They're saying it's normal. It's not what you think it is. Here's the video.
America. God bless you. God bless these United States.
He stuck his arm out to wave. Here's Kamala. She's pointing. Strong points. Big point. Hand flat. Okay. Not at all. Here's Elizabeth Warren. She just stuck her arm up.
Thank you, America.
Feels good. It's good to stretch your body, by the way. Here's Obama. Oh, where's we saw that? I thought it was going to have. Oh, it did. Oh, I was looking for the Hillary one there too. So at the bottom of this video is Elon doing it right next to a bunch of Nazis, and it's the exact same motion. Give me a break, man. Do it. Fucking do it if you think that's not what it is. Okay, next up, big story here. All right, so we're going to keep going here, guys. This is the big part of the podcast today, the big meat in this Hank sandwich, if you will. You could think of me as a series of balls if you'd like. Ball being one of the primary forms of meat shaping. This is good podcasting, Hank. Good way to go. You can make vegetables into balls too to try to be inclusive. So, Cenk has been on another show, and he was asked about the union situation at the Young Turks. Now, people who might not be familiar, I was I don't want to say critical, but I was involved with unionizing the Young Turks. My employment conditions in the time period in which we successfully formed a union there was core to why the union got started. So I am an original source on this story. My opinions on this matter about how the union started far outweigh Cenk's. And I can say that with confidence because he was not sitting in this room with me when I decided to wake up the union drive. The Young Turks union drive actually began in 2018 when, due to a different set of circumstances, employment conditions, workers reached out to IATSE and asked for help. This is documented in the Politico article, as well as I think at least one of the other articles. But emails proving that were shown to the writer Alex Thompson in that article. In fact, here, let's just take a look at it real quick. This is a snippet from the Politico article on my Substack, balledontheinside.substack.com. I don't have it highlighted in this particular snippet, but it says here, emails viewed by Politico, however, show that the conversations between the staffers and IATSE date back to April of 2018, and they began scheduling a meeting with the union on November 5th, 2019, more than a week before Uygur declared his candidacy. I'm showing this to you at the beginning of this video so that you can see that there's not just worker claims, not just my own direct knowledge, but literal proof was shown to professional journalists in this story. This is from my article titled "Two Versions, One Truth: Evidence for My Claims About the Young Turks." All kinds of receipts for everything that I've been claiming about this story, because I'm making a documentary about this whole thing called "Tell the Truth, Cenk." Look for the playlists on the channel. There's TYT related videos. There's also the playlist for the two huge chunks of the film. 2.5 years of work went into those two chunks. It's about 80 minutes or so. So please consider supporting if you'd like to help an independent filmmaker make a video that will make him even more unemployable than he already is. So this stuff is very well documented. All my claims about my employment conditions are proven here as well. I have contract snippets. I have stuff from the state. I have invoices and gusto receipts. I have this email where I asked to be paid for time off. I felt like I deserved to be paid because other people. Sorry, I know I'm going off. Okay, so we'll get back. We'll get to that. You're going to see all of it. The point is, I have a lot of backup for the claims you're about to see me make. Now, I haven't seen this video. I don't know exactly what Cenk says. I scanned the transcript slightly, didn't read closely, but I just saw that there was a lot of union chatter going on. In fact, when we finally get to watching it, don't worry, it'll happen. I've got it set up so we can actually also watch the chat, because I got the sense that there might have been some things going on in the chat that are relevant to this conversation, so that'll be on screen here. So before we jump over to that, so this will be really interesting. I'm not sure if some of this will end up in the film or not, but my responses and my reactions are not, and just to be clear, are not trying to speak for other workers, for other TYT, for the rest of the union. Though I played a central role in getting the union started in 2019, if we could just really quickly jump back over to that thing. See, sorry, it takes me a while to find it all. There's so much of it. I'll be curious to see if Cenk mentioned the political conspiracy. I think they talk about that slightly from what I could tell, but I'm curious if he mentions the reasons why workers organized. Did they get into that at all? Because did they talk about the labor the employment conditions that drove us to start this union? That's large. That's a major part of the film and of why we did it, obviously. Because I'm taking issue with Cenk saying that the union started after he became a politician, because as these emails prove, the union drive actually started 18 months before he became a politician. So any insinuation that IATSE was conspiring to hurt him would have to indicate that IATSE knew 18 months prior to him becoming a carpetbagger politician for a California district in a special election, CA 25, that they knew that would happen, that they had preternatural, what's the word? Clairvoyance, that they could see the future somehow. And that was part of some crazy conspiracy. Things froze in the summer of 2018. And so, in other words, the union drive cooled off. Then I started working for TYT in late 2018, and then in the springtime period of 2019, I'm doing this motion means rounding the year, so entering into the springtime. I deliberately woke up the union to combat unethical employment practices that I felt I was under, being classified as independent contractor. I replaced a person who was classified as an employee who got benefits, and then I go in there and it's an independent contractor job with zero benefits. Also paid less than every other editor in the company at $21.63 an hour. So the union driving woke up because I went out of my way to bring up the topic, to bring it up with the others, so the people, because I had heard about the previous time, so I knew we had a contact, and I was very frustrated and very angry. And I have a long history with TYT, by the way. I started working there off and on between 2013 and 2020. Prior to that, I was a paying member. I played some role in the history of the company in terms of like early hires and stuff like that, and it's just mild role. I mean, I can get into that. I've been on the Vanguard talking about it twice, went on the letter hack as well, going on the Leftist Mafia pretty soon, if that's still up. I think that's going to happen. I'm not sure if why would I not be allowed to say that? But yeah, look for that. And as for the fundraising that I'm planning to do to finish the film, hopefully I'll end up on some other shows. So just real quick to wrap up this little thread here in my brain, if Cenk's insistence that the union started as a response to him becoming a politician, that is to say that because he filed his papers on November 13th, 2019, a bot picked it up. So rumors leaked like that night, and then the announcement, and him and Anna did an announcement video on November 14th of 2019. It's in the film. You can see it. There's a pretty intriguing sequence that takes us through kind of Cenk's political through his campaign and through the way the Bernie Sanders endorsement and unendorsement. And so, because I go out of my way to illustrate the intensity of that media environment that he was running his campaign in, and because that's also the media environment in which his union busting occurred. So yes, anyway, I'll be very curious to see if he mentions the union busting, if they get into some of the tactics that they used, or if they mention the reasons why the workers unionized. But if Cenk's theory is correct, I want you to remember that there's two versions of this story. There's two versions here. One isn't true and one is true. One is that my version is that workers unionized because of unsatisfactory and exploitative working conditions. That's the stuff Cenk is lying up to prevent people from asking, so he doesn't have to explain why the workers unionized. Versus TYT's version, sorry, I'm holding the mouse down. That's why. Oh, let go of the mouse. TYT's version is workers were manipulated into unionizing by Cenk Uygur's political opponents as a ploy to harm his 2019 to 2020 congressional campaign for CA25 special election to replace Katie Hill against establishment favorite Christy Smith. Cenk came in fourth place in that election. In fact, it was two elections on the same day. One was to complete Katie Hill's term, and the other was to be the general candidate for the Democratic Party in California for that district, in coming up in the November general election. Christy Smith lost to Mike Garcia in the general election. So one of these is not true, and that is the premise, or that is what this article focuses on. It gives you the claims for both. But if TYT's version is true, okay, my lights had come off there. I got this cool bright one over here on the side. If TYT's version is true, that the union originated after Cenk became a politician in November of 2019, then Cenk has to prove that these emails the workers sent to Politico to prove that there was communication with IATSE dating back to 2018, and then another round in like early November, late October of 2019, that these were fabricated. Cenk has to prove that this evidence was fabricated by the workers. Furthermore, he would have to prove that the workers who spoke to the reporters for the 4 articles, let's just scroll up real quick, by the way. This is a great starting point for anybody who would rather get their information from someone who isn't me, a third party, is start here. Go to these 4 articles, go to baldontheinside.substack.com. I have these linked quite all over the place. You can also search these headlines. But Cenk would have to prove that the workers quoted in these articles, all of them spoke anonymously out of fear of retaliation, a fear that was justified, that was first of all grounded in us knowing our boss. Who knows their boss better than their longtime workers, right? And our fear was proven correct because the union busting was filled with retaliatory actions. Union busting is bullying. Union busting is intentionally inflicting material and psychological harm on workers to re-subjugate them to the boss's will, right? So Cenk did that. Cenk did a very aggressive union busting campaign, and they withheld raises and bonuses, captive audience meetings at which he threw papers and threatened somebody, a person he later fired. It resulted in 2 NLRB cases that showed that TYT used 2 separate anti-worker law firms, one of which represents the AMPTP. That law firm is called Mitchell, Silberberg, and Knupp. And so I'm the only person, because I was laid off before the union came forward, about a month before the union came forward. I spoke to, emailed, but like I was in email, I interviewed by Kim Kelly for the New Republic article up here. So I'm the only worker that was speaking with their name up front, because I wasn't afraid of Cenk's retaliation, because I no longer worked for the company. I'm not particularly interested in fearing and being subjugated by Cenk, or having to bow down to the worries about whether this project I'm doing is going to cost me, because I am standing up for my own integrity and the integrity of my friends. What Cenk did was unethical. The union busting was unethical. It's an incredibly disgusting thing that he should be called out for. He recently lied about being a union buster to a caller. We might get into that in this episode.
Are you a union buster?
No, I'm definitely not a union buster. So,
there's evidence that proves otherwise, though.
What evidence? All right, brother, you've had a nice run. Bye-bye. Okay.
And the lie to his audience was unethical. He was lying to the other like satellite shows around him, everybody, not just the audience, but the audience includes those, is what I mean. He deceived the entire internet with this bullshit story that outsiders manipulated us into unionizing as a ploy to harm his campaign. And I use the word ploy deliberately because in their long screed against IATSE right here, they call it that. If IATSE doesn't agree, it's obvious they never had the support of our employees, and this was all a ploy to intimidate us and the people who work at TYT. That's a TYT tweet right there, dated February 4th, 2020. Sorry, February 24th. So, rambling a little bit here. Forgive me, but great place to start is these 4 articles. So let's jump over into this. But I actually did want to just mention something really fast. Don Lemon had, don't worry, this is kind of related, but Don, just a quick sidebar. Our buddy Don Lemon, famous from CNN, millionaire through and through. Guy got paid tons of money. He was part of he was like up there with the Anderson Cooper and kind of the hot shot primary network anchors and stuff. So he's doing a whole YouTube thing. Very busy. He's on here a lot. Cenk was on. We're not going to watch a bunch here. I did just want to kind of watch this ending real quick because of the way Don reacts at the end. And then one thing I want to point people's attention to is the comment that I left on this, where I lay out what happened, or at least some of what I'm up to with the project. Go ahead and read it right there if you like. Tell the truth, Cenk. The film I'm making. Look in the playlist. You'll see him. You'll love him. Don't forget to support, please. It's a deep. It's been years and years and years of toil and joyless effort. Tell the truth, Cenk, is my answer to this injustice. Don Lemon liked it. Cenk. Don knows, Cenk. Don knows, man. You're going to go on a show again and you might get donked. Be careful. Look out. He's going to dunk all over you, buddy. So we'll see. I don't know. Maybe I'll even try to reach out to Don's people, see if he wants to talk to somebody. I have evidence for everything, by the way, as we've been showing. It's not just my word. So this is exciting. This is really cool. I was really thrilled when I saw that Don had hearted it. So Don, heart. Don. I did a heart for you, Don. Thank you, buddy. Let's do it. Let's hold some powerful people who are misleading their audiences accountable together. You and me, Don. This like smash cut to like 5 years from now, and Don and I are living in a cabin somewhere. I doubt I mistype. Okay, so real quick, just the end of this one was really funny. I might eventually scrub through this and look for stuff to react to. I don't know. It's a lot of the same stuff he says on a lot of the interviews. I'm pretty sure. Obviously, if it's union specific, I'm going to dial in on that. But let's just watch Don's reaction when this interview ends. It's really funny.
Politicians more than we do, whether they're right or left. By the way, no one gives credit where credit is due, whether they're left or right, more than we do. It's called actual news. So that's what we do on the Young Turks.
Cenk Uygur, thank you. You took the heat, by the way, off Anna a little bit, and I hope to have her on this program. But I appreciate you appearing. Thank you, my friend. I really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Don. Appreciate it, brother. Good.
Woo! Oh, my gosh. That was exhausting. Okay. Thoughts and prayers, right? I want to know what you guys think.
How do you think I feel, buddy? Oh, my God. I want my hard drive space back from all the documentary work. I've been marinating in this fucking toxic personality for years. It's killing me, but it's an injustice that I had to fight for. I'm not going to let Cenk tell my story about how this union started. That's just not something I'm willing to allow.
Oh my gosh, that was exhausting. Okay. Thoughts?
Okay, good. So jump over here. I got the chat thing on screen. By the way, just so you know, support there. I'm on pay. Oh, fuck, it went away. I was trying to give him a salad. Support him on Patreon. Generational Change here with Jen Perelman and Peter Hager. I've seen the show before. I think it was I saying it earlier, and yeah, they seem like good folk doing their thing. So glad to know that people are bringing up the union story, and we're just going to start. They're going to introduce Cenk, and then at about 5 minutes into them talking is when the union stuff comes up. We're not watching the entire thing here. That's not what we're doing right now. But make sure you hit subscribe. Don't forget to like. And I might be trying to get in touch with them if it seems like they need to know some more information that Cenk didn't provide. I'll be stunned if he mentions why the union started, and I'll be very, very stunned if he mentions that it started 18 months before his version before he wants people to believe. Okay, let's just start.
We've talked at great length the impact that Bernie Sanders had, particularly on both of us, going back to 2015, and the impact that the Young Turks had at the time because of the corporate media blackout, which was so substantial in the most egregious way possible. And thanks to Cenk and Anna and the rest of the crew, we were able to see Bernie's rise and ascension to this left populism that we're so desperate to have in this country. And so taxation now, I think, is very important because I think a lot of what we are fighting for is kind of at a crossroads. And so he is the founder and the owner of the Young Turks. Cenk Uygur, welcome to Generational Change.
Thank you, guys. Good to be with you.
Hey, Cenk, how are you?
Good, Jen. How you doing?
I'm good. So you and I have only spoken as
too.
me as a candidate, I think, right? Like in candidate mode, in campaign mode. So we've never probably had like a real conversation. So I'm glad, welcome. I'm glad you could be here. And just so you're aware, like all of the bullshit nonsense content creator crap that plagues everybody on the left, I am very unaware of a lot of it because I'm not on social media. So just I'm putting that out there. So I'm asserting my ignorance in a lot of these matters. But
I envy you.
Well, you in reality, I don't care. People, look, there's people that love you and there's people that hate you and there's people with opinions about everything and you know it. But you are definitely one of the key people that have created what we now have here. You are one of the people that led to platforms like this. And I am very appreciative and have a lot of respect for that. And, you know, you've had a lot of takes I agree with over the years. Honestly, I think you get a bad rap sometimes from people and, you know, whatever. But I get along with everybody. But lately you've been getting some crap is my understanding. More than usual amount of crap.
Well, no, the crap just switches. First of all, thank you for saying that, Jen. I appreciate it. And it's rare to find grateful people these days. And so we've given a lot of people opportunity and some of them.
Grateful people. Okay. There's a tweet that he wrote when things were popping off in December. Emma Vigeland had tweeted about them having it was kind of a back and forth with Anna about the union busting law firm, which was really blew up the project for me, got a lot of attention because it elevated a lot of, a tweet that I wrote got a bunch of attention following that. But he tweeted something about people who he's given opportunities over the years, who then who have now turned around and attacked him without or not shown any decency or gratitude. So he thinks that it's weird to find grateful people. It's such a strange, interesting way to say that. Yeah, that's okay. I'll get that. That's the domination power dynamic thing of like a Wharton business trained capitalist. He went to the same business school as Elon Musk and Donald Trump, by the way. Yeah.
Thank you for saying that, Jen. I appreciate it. And it's rare to find grateful people these days. And so we've given a lot of people opportunity.
No.
And some of them haven't been overly grateful for it. Okay, but what are you going to do? That's life.
Hey, Cenk, when I was classified as part-time, working 40-hour weeks at your business, was I supposed to show gratitude for that? Where's your fucking gratitude to me? Huh? All those days off I took I didn't get paid for? We unionized to stop that unethical, barbaric practice. Working 40-hour weeks called part-time. No health insurance. No paid days off. No bonus. And you expect gratitude? Clearly, I'm over the emotions without this whole story.
So in terms of the crap, look, I've gotten so much crap from the establishment throughout my life that I'm not sure anyone's going to be able to catch up to them. And I've gotten an unbelievable amount of crap from the right wing throughout my life.
That's true.
And Democratic leadership and mainstream media, and we can go on and on.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a chance that I'm the most attacked man on the internet, like maybe in internet history.
Definitely
right?
in left independent circles. I mean, I could see that for sure.
Yeah. And nowadays, the Democratic establishment fanboys and fangirls that never liked me are joined by I don't know what to call them, the far left, radical left, whatever. And so
maximum Christmas left is what I prefer to be called.
So they're a little bit more authoritarian mindset these days, and they're much more into the culture wars, and they've lost sight of economic populism. So
okay, so the chat goes away when I pause, which is really annoying. So we're gonna have to deal with that in the edit. Might not be as useful as we hoped, but if there's stuff I think we need to see, we'll definitely make sure we see it.
And they've lost sight of economic populism, and that's really what the average American needs. That's what makes us popular. By us, I mean Bernie Sanders, us, you guys, etc. And so I think they've lost their way, and they think I've lost my way, and they think that if you just call every Trump supporter a racist or a bigot or yell at them, that somehow that'll lead us to winning them over. No, they don't want to win them over because they're racist Nazis, but we lost the popular vote. So shouldn't we try to win the next election? No, don't try to win elections. Be more pure and self-righteous, etc. Anyway, but more than that, I can't stand that attitude of, if you disagree with me, you are immoral. So my answer to that, no matter where it comes from, right-wing, left-wing establishment, is, yeah, fuck off.
Yeah.
Straw man,
and really for the most part, up until, we're talking about a genocide, I'm good with the agree to disagree. There's a lot of things that we can agree to disagree on. It's right now for me, I'm like, everything is seemingly black and white for the past 15 months with so many people. But for the most part, I'll talk to anybody about anything and work with you on whatever we do agree on. Like, I don't understand this mentality, and I don't understand people giving you shit for going on conservative or Republican platforms as if we should only speak to the people in our echo chamber. What good does that do? I don't understand. Like, that to me has never made any sense, giving people a hard time for going on other platforms.
Yeah, 100%. And that's the first thing they tried. They were like,
okay, so the chat stays if I don't jump. Okay, I think that works. Good. I think to summarize it, I completely agree with what she's saying, by the way, and nobody's suggesting that Cenk shouldn't talk to right-wingers on other shows or go on their shows, is that he goes on their shows bringing peace offerings in the form of disciplining the left, of trashing his allies, trashing people he would formerly have maybe considered allies. That's what people pick up on. Watch the Francesca Fiorentini interview where my name comes up, and he makes a barf face, by the way. I did a bunch of reaction stuff to that. But she is talking about this with him, and she has videos. She's just playing it. She dog walks him through a bunch of it. His interview with Mark Lamont Hill is similarly illuminating in that sense. But and I don't think you should go on to a right-wing show and just torch the entire thing with super aggressive stuff. You got to go in tactically. It's difficult to persuade people, obviously. But the way Cenk and Anna have been approaching this is they're going on they're getting applause and love bombing. If you look at their comments, and I've been watching this very, very closely, closer than is healthy for anybody's mental health, for sure. You're seeing constant comments, retweets, quote tweets and stuff, and other mentions, comments, YouTube comments, Reddit comments, people saying, "Oh my God, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I agree with Cenk Uygur. Oh my God, what's going on? Cenk Uygur's making sense. Anna Kasparian, I used to hate her, but now she's making so." They're going on those shows because they're offering affirmative narratives that affirm right-wing narratives. And it has the effect of suggesting and of giving the right-wingers a massive win in the form of being able to point and say, look, even Cenk and Anna are showing that they were wrong this whole time. Even they, with their new obsequiousness, is that even the right word? With the way they're coming at their new right-wing friends, it gives them the cudgel to say that, look how wrong everyone on the left is if even Cenk and Anna are finally seeing the light, because they're very prominent in this space, which is true. They have been at this quite a long time. Yeah. Anyway, that's kind of the deal there. I hope some of that sounded at least fair. I'm not trying to totally misrepresent. I'm not trying to misrepresent.
Like, oh, you went and talked to Nazis. That you're a terrible person. Blah 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 blah. Okay, and then that didn't work because people were like, "You're yelling at them."
You went and told Nazis that your lefty allies are terrible people, are doing things wrong, are causing the losses. That's what people are saying. Anyway, I don't need to.
For just talking to them? That doesn't.
And by the way, I shouldn't call them all Nazis. I think that's actually an unproductive way of communicating about this. Although the right wing is being pulled very clearly and very strongly. There's a very strong Nazi contingent there. The guy in charge, Elon Musk, is doing the salute behind the presidential podium, and they ain't objecting to it. They're defending it. So, as much as it is gross to sling that word around, I do think the word is drastically overused and drastically misunderstood. Understood, I should say.
Seem rational, right? And then they switched because that was inconvenient. They're like, oh, yeah, but you actually agree with them on 2 or 3 things. I'm like, no, they agreed with us on 2 or 3 things. Like they're now saying they're anti-war. Great, I'll take it. And let's put them to the test and make sure they really are anti-war. Right. And then on the things we don't agree.
David Hunter says, Cenk, that's not the reason why people turned on you. You tried to squash unionization at TYT and fired workers who tried to unionize. The comments are rolling in.
We yell at each other. So that's exactly how it's supposed to be. That's how America's supposed to be, right?
Yeah.
But unfortunately, some on our side have like binary brain, and they're like, no, if you go on there, the only thing you can do is yell Nazi the whole time. All right, whatever.
Straw man.
Okay. I mean, look, it's just not a sophisticated way to handle yourself. But they're not covering themselves in glory. Let's put it that way.
No.
Cenk, I'm in commercial real estate, and one of the things that I think people on the left have a very big misnomer about, and everyone always wants to bring up the whole unionization effort at TYT. Can you explain to the audience, you've been running the Young Turks for 20 years. That's one hell of a long time to be running a small business that became a big business. Can you share with the audience a little bit of what it's like to be in free market America and the pressures that come with employing dozens of people, especially in Los Angeles, one of the most expensive markets in the country, all the things that you've had to do over the years? Because I don't think people truly understand. I'm not, giving a blank slate here, but I don't think people truly recognize the amount of pressure that goes into running the operation that you run on a day-to-day basis.
Oh, yeah. I mean, digital media is a nightmare.
I mean, owning real estate's a business. Being in commercial real estate, surely there's a lot of stuff going on in that, and that you could call a business, but it is landlording. So, but nevertheless, like the guy, fair question. How hard is it to run a business? I make profit off of real estate. You make profit off of running a business in Los Angeles where it's expensive. I live in Los Angeles. I moved from Chicago to Los Angeles in 2013 specifically to work for TYT and to pursue my comedy ambitions and other stuff. It was a big move for me. So I'm also aware of the pressures of living in Los Angeles as someone who doesn't have a business, running a business generating hundreds of thousands of dollars in income. Cenk's income in 2018 was $327,000, I think in $500. That's as revealed by the FEC filings. I actually thought it would be higher than that, and I wouldn't even knock him if it was higher than that. But in 2018, he made over $300,000 in income. These rich guys have a lot more, stuff to other ways that their income or that their wealth can accumulate as well.
All the
especially through the magic of owning something, right, and getting people's labor. So the big ways. So anyway, okay, let's keep going.
People who try to do what we're doing, because we're not just one individual show. That's a little bit easier to pull off. We're trying to build a network so that the left can have real power, so that we can affect the national conversation. We can influence people in our direction, which is left-wing populism, right? The Bernie Sanders, agenda overall. And so when you're trying to do that, that is very, very difficult, especially in a brutal industry where every other media company has gone bankrupt. So nevertheless, we were able to do this, and we did it through so many different trials and tribulations. So when it comes to the unionizing, there's this misnomer out there that our enemies push out there. They crack me up. So they back when I was running for office, like Jen was in 2000, the unions were on the side of my Democratic establishment supporter. And that's unfortunate. And
he said I think he misspoke. He might have just meant 2020. He wasn't running for office in 2000.
Fortunately, in the past, the unions generally tended to support more pro-corporate Democrats, which never made any sense. It's totally irrational. Thank God now Sean Fain, Sean O'Brien are beginning to change that, and the unions have it.
And just to be clear, IATSE endorsed Christy Smith in this race, by the way. I don't know when that happened. Obviously, it happened after Cenk became a politician. Or, I mean, I guess maybe Christy was running before, perhaps, so it's plausible that they had endorsed her before he jumped into the race. But IATSE had endorsed Christy Smith. We're going to talk about that more. There's definitely, that's worth pointing out. I go into that in the film. I go, I'm not hiding around any of that. That's the foothold that he uses to base his lie on, the conspiracy theory that the union was out to hurt him or something like that. The way that, as Okay, we'll get to that. Just say yes to the union and you don't fall into their trap, fucking moron.
A different attitude now, which I love.
Okay.
But back then, IATSE was a union that was supporting Christy Smith in that race. And they were actually the main union that were knocking on doors, etc. And then right in the middle of that campaign,
a lot of IATSE members live in the district Cenk was running, California 25.
At its most heated moment, we were about to have a debate finally with Christy Smith. This story popped up that that TYT was going to be unionized, and I never heard of it. And I thought that they were, you know, that it was people were lying, right? Because I was like, we have a great relationship with our employees. They would normally just come to us, right?
Oh, and sure, Cenk, you saw it at the beginning in the blue highlight. I asked if I could get paid for days off. I asked twice, meaning I had a meeting in June. Then I sent that email when I was hired for the third time for the same job. They were monkeying around with classification because it meant that Cenk could keep my day off money and health insurance expenses. And he thinks he's saying that they had a great relationship. We spent the first half of this video but you know, we started out looking at workers trying to unionize going back 18 months. I have a lot more I could talk about. I'm going to. Hassan Abi, his nephew, famous socialist on Twitch. Everybody knows Hassan Piker. We've all seen his videos talking about being exploited by Cenk. He was just on Sean O'Brien's podcast, the Teamsters president, talking about how they needed it, how he needed a union, how he was treated poorly, how his uncle stole his IP.
Dude, what was the first job that you had?
I worked with my uncle.
Cenk?
Yeah, exactly. He definitely took, let's just say he definitely took advantage of the fact that I was his nephew in terms of, you know, the pay structure that I worked
So you
under.
definitely needed a union with a relative.
Oh, 100%.
No doubt.
Exactly.
And then he spread misinformation about the union, which really upsets me. But
they actually did unionize the producers, but that was after I had left. But there was definitely a little bit of issues there as well. And
you know, that's fine. It's because he doesn't know. But this is such horse shit. This is fucking horse shit right here. I'm not speaking for everybody who works at TYT. There's plenty of people there who might completely disagree with their relationship. And to those, if you're hearing me now and you're thinking Hank's off his rocker here, why don't you have my back? I wanted health care. I wanted health insurance for full-time video editing. I deserve to get the same disrespect everybody else got. And I asked. I was an independent contractor for 7 months. I kept bitching. I'm very loud. Like, they should have known who they were messing around with, by the way. If he'd ever bothered to get to know me, he might have known. But he would have done this to anybody. It's not like they just had it out for me. I'm sure he wishes he hadn't by this point. And I agree. After 7 months, I get a meeting with HR. Hey, this is stressing me out. I feel like I deserve health care. I feel like I deserve health insurance for working here. I work next to people who get health insurance. I just took 6 days vacation. I didn't get any money. I didn't get any pay for that. I didn't get any pay for any holidays yet since October at all. Can you please fix this? I was giving them an out. Hey, please. They could have said, oh my God, Hank, we're so sorry. They could have faked it. You could have used bullshit. Cenk's masterful bullshitting powers. He's a fucking marketer is what he is. That's why he's obsessed with what the label thinks. Because he's never lived any of this stuff. He's just a rich, fancy lad. His dad's a big-time corporate, commercial landlord in New Jersey. So after 7 months, I finally get this meeting with HR. I'm stressed out of my mind. So sick of it. I'm autistic. My emotions bubble. I have deep, heavy emotions in me. Like my whole being. This face, see my beard? It's not a style. My beard has fallen out. Not blaming Cenk for that. I'm saying that the way my body deals with stress. And I'm forced to do this documentary to try to defend my integrity after he lied about me to his audience. That we were manipulated into unionizing. So anyway, I'll try to save some of this heat for later. Don't worry, I'm sure there'll be more. But after those 7 months, instead of saying, dude, geez, whoa, we messed up. Sorry, Here's your day off money you deserved. Yeah, we didn't mean for this to go on so long. Gosh, we only meant to do that for a month or two, which would have been completely scummy as well, but I would have been okay with that probably. I was so desperate at the time, man. I didn't know I was autistic at the time. I was having all kinds. I mean, my whole life I've had mental health struggles and emotional issues and all kinds of crazy stuff. And I bring up the autism too because I can't like keep it down, but like it's part of the film, by the way, in terms of like the personal story of it. It will be. Not a lot because it makes people uncomfortable, but whatever. We'll see that later. And so after 7 months, instead of saying sorry, we'll fix it. You deserve health insurance just like the editors you sit next to. You deserve paid days off just like the editors you sit next to. He changed my classification from independent contractor to part-time temporary. You can see it on screen right now. So here, 2 versions, 1 truth. Let's look. These are the hours I worked while I was called part-time. Averaged out normalized over the work days, because, not every 2-week period is 10 days. Sometimes there's days off. Averaged out daily, hourly, 7.86, 9.02, 8.5, 7.87, 8.37, 8.33, 8.05, 8.09, 7.51, 8.17. 83 hours in 10 days, 40-hour weeks, called part-time, so that Cenk could keep my Labor Day money, my 4th of July money, and vacation pay. This data this top page here comes from my independent contractor invoices. These were parceled out in weekly increments. That's why we have a little bit more granularity. There was a little slowdowns at times. Even these days, though, where it only shows me averaging 6 hours a week, that is above TYT's threshold for part-time labor, as detailed here from one of the emails they emailed me for one of the hirings of the same job, one of the 3 times I was hired for the same work, 30 hours per week. I have it all broken down here and detailed. Did all the math. You can go look at it. While working 40.5 hours a week, 10.5 hours a week above TYT's part-time threshold, I was classified as part-time editor. It's insane. It's outrageous. I asked for help, dude. This is the thing. Let's look. We saw it before. Let's go look at it again. Here's me asking Cenk to fix this. Can I please get paid for the time I took off? It's unfair. Think of how weird it is to work at this company. And I have this deep history with the company. Remember, I've been watching this show since 2007. I started watching before Anna joined the company. I remember when Jill Pike was the main one. Maybe it was 2006 or something. I don't know. It was like way early. Working there, believing in the mission. You figure out how the sausage gets made pretty quickly when you start working somewhere. I mean, I figured out pretty early in that early phase of my working there, 2013, 2014, into 2015, that it wasn't a very high respect environment. But they didn't pull this shit. I don't actually think I got $3,000 a month for most of that time, actually, which was horrible. Here's their answer. Remember, hey, champion of progressives, can I get help? Nope, sorry. Can you backdate? What are you prorating the bonus to? That's question 2. Well, we're going to prorate the bonus to your 3rd hiring date. So I didn't get bonus for a full year of labor. We will not backdate pay or benefits. Isn't that convenient? Thousands of dollars. Thousands and thousands of dollars here. If this is not a reason to unionize, I don't know what is. I'm yelling, I'm sorry. But here, this is the independent contractor agreement. Look at this. Look at this shit. No benefits. So when you hear him say this, he's probably going to say paid family leave, medical, we have great benefits. This is what Cenk Uygur does to people. This is the real person he is. Look at this. Look at these words. The dude does not live the principles his audience thinks they support. You can't convince me otherwise. Like I said, if he had only done it for a month or two, scummy, but that would have been a skeleton I would have kept buried, as I write in the other article. It's nonsense, man. Okay, back over. And yet you're still a union buster, Cenk. Someone writes with the thinking emoji, I think. How very left of you.
So it turns out they didn't. And now, in the benefit of hindsight, I now realize what happened. They got worked up in a good way. They were like, oh, we want to be union, etc. And I don't know that anyone actually knew that IATSE was, one of the top.
I got to back up because he said it turns out they didn't, and I don't want to just start there. I know we did listen to it, but I went off on that jag, so I got to back up. This is going to kill the chat here, but we'll get back to it. Don't worry. Let me just back up here. I'll have to let it play to repopulate the chat, and then I'll edit this down. This is going to take some editing to make it look smooth, but don't worry. It's good.
And then right in the middle of that campaign, at its most heated moment, we were about to have a debate finally with Christy Smith. This story popped up that TYT was going to be unionized, and I never heard of it. And I thought that they were, that it was people were lying, right? Because I was like, we have a great relationship with our employees. They would normally just come to us, right? And so it turns out they didn't. And now, in the benefit of hindsight, I now realize what happened. They got worked up in a good way. They were like, oh, we want to be union, etc. And I don't.
So he's talking about the workers. He said they got worked up in a good way. And just to back up a few seconds, he said the story pops up. No, that's not the way it worked. They brought you a letter that said that we're a union now. That's how it works everywhere. You're notified. Unless maybe somehow it was a press story. Maybe he's referring to the Twitter account. I know that the Young Turks Twitter TYT union announced that they were a union on February 12th, 2020. Everything hit the fan on the 21st of February, though. That's the date of this candidate forum that he referred to with Christy Smith. Guess who watched it? Me. Maybe we'll do another watch through again with the crowd, or I don't know, with if I ever have an audience, because it's kind of interesting actually. But they didn't bring it up at that. Part of what underpins their argument that this was a story, and this is when Anna also came in and signal boosted this smear, is that this was suspicious because it was on the day of that forum, as if he was going to be ambushed by being asked about something by a fellow candidate. Well, you wouldn't have been able to handle that? And by the way, the only reason it becomes a negative is if you deny the union. This is fundamental.
Know that anyone actually knew that IATSE was, one of the top folks who were doing grassroots work against us and spending.
No, Cenk, in 2018, when the workers first contacted IATSE, they didn't know IATSE was endorsing Christy Smith in 2020 or late 2019 or whatever. When we reached out to IATSE in October, or maybe a first email was early November, I'm not the one who sent those. We didn't know that you were a political candidate because I don't think he'd been in. I'm saying you. I try not to do that. George Papadopoulos inspired him to run, by the way. I've heard him say that. I got to assume he's probably pondered running himself before. I don't think it was his first inkling, but because it was kind of this weird special election. So, yeah, that's kind of an interesting side note to the whole thing. But did we know IATSE had endorsed your opponent, Cenk's opponent? No. I heard of that when it was in it. But IATSE had already responded positively twice. And as I go out of my way to explain in the articles and in the film and in communications about this, IATSE endorsing Smith, considering how intense this political campaign was for Cenk, Anna, and everybody else on Team Cenk, considering how unusual this event was, the notoriety of Cenk's prominence in the progressive sphere and in the online world and all the commotion that goes up and around him. That's what a lot of the first 40 minutes of the movie is about. It made complete sense, or at least I could offer good faith and graciousness that it would have been a reason to be possibly suspicious. Absolutely. Hey, there's a union going on. We just found out about this union. We didn't know about it because we were good about our operational security because we knew our boss would probably retaliate, which happened during the union busting. But okay, you can't say yes to it immediately because you need to make sure that this is not some operation by Nancy Pelosi and her political minions and IATSE and Christy Smith. Take a week or two. do some fact checking, find out exactly why the union started, find out exactly when the union started, and then say yes to the union. This would have saved everybody a lot of trouble. This would have saved everybody a lot of trouble. But the thesis of the film and my project is that they were motivated to not know the truth. In other words, they were motivated to prevent their audience from learning the truth. Cenk didn't want to answer the question, why did your workers unionize? So he answered it ahead of time. The answer he gave his audience was, my workers were duped into it by my political opponents. This is obviously a political ploy to intimidate us, a ploy to intimidate. And in another statement that said other motives at play. Anna called it bad faith and suspicious. Cenk used sarcasm the day of, the 21st of February, and where he called it so genuine. IATSE endorsing Smith is enough of a hook for that lie to find purchase, for that lie to take root. But it's a justifiable reason to do some fact checking. The step after that is not, let's go public and smear our workers. The step after that is, how can we confirm what's true here? Oh, the people who the story's about are on the other side of the room. As I say, this is not all stories are confirmable, but this is the most confirmable story in journalism history. The original sources for the story were in the same room as Cenk and Anna. Or if for some reason it would have been inappropriate to talk to them because of now they'd already not accepted the union. So then once you kind of do that, these battle lines get drawn. I wasn't there anymore. I got laid off on January 7th. Could have contacted me. I'd never gave anybody reason to distrust anything I had said, right? It's not like I had a history of being a liar. Frankly, I have the kind of honesty that causes problems in my life. I'm sure Cenk wishes I didn't have this level of honesty. I'm sure he wishes I was a person of ethical character similar to him. I don't play these fucking games. I don't recognize this hierarchy bullshit. So, but it is interesting that he's kind of dialing in on just this IATSE endorsement. This is fascinating, by the way, as much as I'm feeling a lot of emotion about it. You know, and I think we all should. Working fucking sucks. Having to take orders from dipshits. Having to submit most of your life to this nonsense of being money driven in order to survive. It's disgusting what they've done to this planet, this work cult, supposed to this fucking rotten society. Anyway, let's keep going.
Money against my campaign, etc. So maybe some of them knew, but certainly not most of the employees didn't know that, right? So there was this giant miscommunication at that time.
Maybe some of them knew about the endorsement. Okay, that's revealing, because what he's saying is, you can disagree if you feel like, but that knowing that would have been prior to committing to unionizing. Right? Maybe some of them knew. He probably thinks me. I bet he thinks I got in touch with them and tried to do it to take him down or some bullshit like that. That's outrageous. You've seen the thing. I wanted to see a doctor. I wanted therapy for my fucked up head. I wanted to end the stress of having to work at this asshole's company for zero benefits and $21.63 an hour for excellent video editing. Really fucking good at video editing. I'm still bothered by a mistake I made while I worked there because I put a bug in the it's a little corner icon that goes in the corner, and there's this processing thing afterwards that does it, and I did it, and then I had two of them, and it still irks me that happened. I'm sorry, boss. So give me a fucking break, man. So that comment, some of them knew, maybe, I'm sure he thinks of me. I mean, at this point, he's got to understand, because Cenk has probably watched my videos, and he's still not. If Cenk wanted to show that he believes in honesty, he'd be promoting my film. He's never going to do that. I mean, when he's going to get asked about this more and more. Also, if you run a media company that attracts movement leftists who believe the shit that you're selling about honesty and standing up to power, and all the times Cenk has screamed and yelled about unions Or explain collective organizing, collective bargaining.
We've got to have collective bargaining so you all have power. The working class should have power. Are we allowed to stand up for working class people? The answer is yes. Yes, you are.
You don't have collective bargaining, and you want to go into your boss and say, all right, I'd like a pay raise. You're going to have absolutely no ability to do that. The only way that any boss would take you seriously is whether you could bring everybody in together.
We need to have stronger unions in this country. We need to restore power back to the average citizens in this country.
We need unionized work, right? We need labor protections. We had those protections. They've been rolled back throughout the decades because of the aggressiveness of the anti-labor movement.
The wealth gap is so big. The thing that had the most hope to close it was unions.
If 50% of the workers in a unit sign a card saying they want to belong to a union, you got a union, end of discussion.
It's about time that the working class in this country had a little bit of power.
What if we were actually the ones that actually stood up for people and stood up for ourselves?
There are real consequences for employees who even bring up the notion of unionizing. People get fired immediately.
Overpower them, and they could bully them, and they can intimidate them because they got a lot of workers here and they want to pay them as little as possible.
Corporate power is, in a sense, oppressing all of us. They have to maximize profit, and so they have to squeeze every red cent out of every single one of us.
If 50% of the workers in a unit sign a card, you got a union, end of discussion.
And now he has a surface level understanding of it, as he was been cosplaying as a progressive over these years. Now, to be fair, I think he'd probably support a more Nordic model of social democracy, higher taxes on wealthy, much higher spending on social services. He's probably still for some of that stuff, I would think. And if he runs for Congress again, I might even still vote for him. I don't assign my virtue to my vote. That's individualistic thinking. I don't think about voting that way. And you shouldn't either. And were there varying degrees of knowledge within the bargaining unit about what the origins of it were? Largely. I mean, sure. I don't, by the time I was out, the bargaining unit wasn't fully formed yet. A lot of stuff things happened after that. As far as I know, I wasn't privy to it. I was cut off. I was only watching from the outside. So this is, but emphasizing the endorsement by IATSE is very predictable in this story in terms of me thinking about how they might eventually address this. I had thought maybe they'll eventually say, oh boy, Hank called us out. Yeah, look at all the evidence he's got. Yeah, he's totally correct. Sorry, we got hosed. Like, I thought they should do that, but I knew they wouldn't do that. But so, discussing this IATSE stuff is really interesting. He certainly started, see how he's starting. But you know how like history didn't start until property ownership didn't start until Europeans had stolen all the land. Oh, and now look, we start property ownership. Oh, look, natural. He's doing a version of that with this story doesn't start until IATSE endorses my opponent, and therefore they're in on it against me. And some of my workers might have known, but not all of them. He's giving some grace to the workers who didn't know about that. I remember hearing about it, I think I don't remember, honestly, it's a little foggy because I tried to find when IATSE formally did that. Cenk and Anna Cenk tweeted this stuff from somebody at TYT who sent internal communications about IATSE endorsing Smith, emails saying, hey, we're going to go do canvassing and stuff like that. So that was his evidence that they had tweeted out. Because see, the thing about lying the way he lied, the thing about covering this story up, the thing about hiding it from his audience, it's not that his version has to be accurate. His version just has to create doubt. All he needs is this fog of confusion. Like, pick a villain. dropping a smoke bomb and making an escape, like Lex Luthor. I almost said Batman, but Batman's a good guy, a billionaire who beats up clowns. Okay, let's just keep going. All right, hang on. We got to back up. There's he said a phrase, giant miscommunication. Great word for lie, but we're going to go back and listen to that with a little more context, so I'm going to react to it. I got to let the fucking chat repopulate. God damn it.
And so it turns out they didn't. And now, in the benefit of hindsight, I now realize what happened. They got worked up in a good way. They were like, oh, we want to be union, etc.
They got worked up. He needs to clarify. Does that mean they got manipulated? Worked up? What worked them up in 2018, Cenk? You ever going to tell the audience about that? What worked us up in 2019, Cenk? All that information is on my Substack, bald on the inside,
etc. And I don't know that anyone actually knew that IATSE was, one of the top folks who were doing grassroots work against us and spending money against my campaign, etc. So maybe some of them knew, but certainly not. Most of the employees didn't know that, right? So there was.
How does he know that? How does he know what the employees knew at the time? Where is he getting his confidence? This guy's a union buster who has an incentive to deceive. This is not trustworthy. This is not a trustworthy recounting. I think he's laying out. Essentially, he's laying out a framework of argument built around the tweets that they put out at the time, so far as I've seen it. He's basically supporting the case that they made at the time. I was public at the time. I tweeted about it to the threads that got some attention. That's how it was known that I was one of the people that could be interviewed for one of the articles.
This giant miscommunication at that time as to the motivation.
Okay. Giant miscommunication at that time as to the motivation. Giant miscommunication. There's a 3-letter word for that. L-I-E. What if I spelled it wrong? Wouldn't that have been funny? Giant. So what was the motivation? Who got miscommunicated? What was the miscommunication? What could possibly be the motivation in a generic sense for any group of workers to secretly unionize their workplace? It's always the simple story: to combat workplace grievances, to address ongoing grievances, to gain a modicum of respect using the social physics of collective bargaining. I had no leverage to negotiate health insurance from my boss. I had no leverage for a bonus that I deserved, paid days off as I deserved. And I'm a believer in these policies. I'm a believer in TYT's mission of getting money out of politics and all this nonsense that he claims to believe. Now, how weird it is to edit videos of this guy talking about people deserving health care. The Bernie Sanders t-shirt that says Medicare for All, that's blue. I designed that and I made the commercial for that. I did that without health insurance. Sitting next to people who are making more money per hour than me who got health insurance. So what motivation is he referring to? Giant miscommunication about the motivation. This is the entire crux of it. The thing he didn't want his audience learning is the motivation. The story I lived. Giant miscommunication at that time. I mean, he's being very vague, though. None of this is really precise. And I'll be very interested to someday talk with Jen and Peter here, maybe about this story as well, because I'm an open book on this stuff, man. I mean, there's definitely like some things I probably need to be careful about saying, and et cetera, et cetera. But this is such nonsense.
So what I asked for was, hey guys, can you do a vote? And by the way, there was a couple of people that came up to us and said,
okay, what I asked for was, hey guys, can you do a vote? I don't have the captions on, you fucking moron. Jesus. What the hell? Yeah, you can change the size of the captions with hotkeys, by the way. Sorry, I should have been doing that this whole time. I don't want to back up, damn it. So he says, what I asked for was, can you guys do a vote? They did a vote. They already voted, and it's called card check. Here's what Cenk Uygur believes about card check.
I don't believe in card check.
He said that to Ryan Grimm on December 3rd. Wait a minute, that's wrong. Fuck, that's not December. I gotta fix that. God damn it. That's March 3rd, 2020. This is wrong. I'll fix that. It's definitely not that. Because it's the night of the primary election, or it's the night of those elections. Yes, he says it right there. March 3rd, 2020. That's it. I'm firing my unpaid interns. One more time.
I don't believe in card check.
He rejected the democracy that showed up at his business. Hey guys, can we have a vote? They did have a vote. He rejected it. This is the denial of voluntary recognition. This is the start of the union busting. This is what they do. That's the first step in everything. There was a sequence in the film about delay, about with the interview with Marty Short, the former union buster. Wrote a book called Confessions of a Union Buster. Marty Short is a famous, beloved Hollywood icon. Martin Levitt. That sequence in the film is really important. That's what lays out the entire timeline of information. Actual voluntary recognition marks the start of the negotiation phase, but TYT refused to negotiate because they refused to recognize, insisting instead on a new election at a later date, buying themselves time during which management would employ the array of coercive and deceptive union busting techniques. Delay is an extremely common union busting tactic. This guy here, Martin J. Levitt, he was a professional union buster for 30 years, but his conscience finally caught up to him for all the damage he did.
Everything. Delay was one of my favorite tactics. It wears you down, it frustrates you. It lays the climate for the divisiveness. It frustrates people. It's, well, you know, what good is our union? We've been trying to accomplish this for 2 years now and nothing's happened. It gives the...
You just watched it because I edited it in. You reject card check, and you ask for a vote later. An arbitrator, supervisor, NLRB, that buys them time to do union busting. What followed was captive audience meetings, withholding raises and bonuses that generated one of those, which generated an NLRB case. Firing a worker the morning after Cenk's election loss, which generated an NLRB case. Emails pleading from Cenk, pleading for them to not unionize. Filled with classic union busting bullshit. Classic playbook tactics. Saying that the union might endanger the company, saying that we're going to have to hurt other workers if we're going to have to give you unionizing bastards a raise. That's not his direct words. And then smearing the workers' integrity publicly to an audience that they all cared about. Imagine how hard it was. Imagine how emotionally difficult it must have been for my friends to have to go to work, knowing that and do their jobs. Their jobs were making Cenk and Anna look good on camera, look and sound good on camera. And they still had to go do their jobs. They still had to fulfill their end of the bargain. These disrespected workers who are just looking for a slightly better working conditions so that they can keep making this guy rich, keep pumping up his salary, keep pumping up his share prices, and keep pumping up his career. Their backs covered in footprints that are shaped like him. That's a terrible way to put that. Boot prints on their backs. And they held up their end of the deal while he was in the other room. And he didn't do it from that room, but like while the people who were smearing their integrity, Anna and Cenk, are in the other room doing their show. Imagine that. Think of the injustice. That was part of the union busting. That was part of their attempt to subjugate the workers for stepping out of line. This is old class struggle stuff. This is just deep-coded, deep-rooted. The workers had to get leverage because they were looking out for each other. We had solidarity, and that's the only thing stronger than capitalists, is people standing against them and looking out for each other. My friends looked out for me. And taking some action, starting up this union, deliberately bringing it up, having questions, and like making sure that we were serious. Because you could just blow off steam as you're starting. It's really fun. You should unionize your workplace, by the way. I highly recommend it. Be careful. Don't do it on company communication. He goes, oh, I didn't know anything about it. Why would we have told the union buster? oh, hey, Mr. Oppressor, excuse us. Oh, gee, do you think we could like form a union here at your workplace? Oh, that would be so nice. No way. Insane, man. This is just such bullshit.
Hey, we do.
Okay, so people came up to them. Let's make the caption a little smaller. So people came up to them and said to them, now I wasn't in there at this time. I'm not saying I know he's lying about this. For all I know, I suspect he's not telling the truth. I can make a very persuasive case that he has strong incentives to lie. I know for a fact he lied about the workers and when and why we unionized. And as we might look at later, I know for a fact that he straight up lied about being a union buster.
We didn't want this, and they're kind of bullying us, right? And I don't mean IATSE, I mean some other folks that were there at the time.
What? Wait a minute. So he says that people came up to him and said they were being bullied by other workers? Cenk, are you trying to make this story worse here? You're trying to not get attention for this whole deal, aren't you, you stupid idiot? So now, the TYT founder and Homo Progressives is now accusing unionizing workers of bullying other workers? Is that really the narrative that he wants out there? That's ridiculous. That's outrageous.
And so I asked for a vote, and we got a vote, and then they won, right? So they
listen to that. I asked for a vote by saying no to card check. 2 months of straight up union busting, of abusing those people, of lying about their integrity, lying about their intelligence to the audience that they cared about. And you skipped right over. This equipment's very old. It's been yelled at a lot. Listen, look at that. The way he skips right the fuck over it. It's all documented. God damn it. String thingy. I need a... All right. Patreon.com, everybody. I need fucking help me buy some new shit, for fuck's sake. I am so unemployable, for God's sakes. They asked for a vote, and look, it can go small. This is the union busting right here. 2 months. We got a vote, and then they won right. It was 9-6 was the vote, April 9th, 2020. What a fucking liar. What a scoundrel, man. Jesus Christ. Remember, his whole thing is this was unfair. I'm a victim. I'm attacked. They had it out for me. They didn't know IATSE had endorsed it. And if they had known that, like that's what I'm saying, like earlier, where he's like saying that that's when the timeline begins to him, as far as he wants the world to know. And the only way the plan works, the only way this thing functions as a ploy, is if he says no to the union. So our first meeting was the Friday after he filed, like in-person meeting. It was in this apartment. I had just enough chairs. I went and I bought shitty coffee cake. I really regret that I couldn't afford good coffee cake. And I have like a sacred mission in my brain that if I ever get to see my friends again, because the day I got fired, they told me to get out by noon, tapped me on the shoulder by 11:15 and told me I had to be out by noon. And I packed up my desk. I told the managers of the editing department, they didn't know that they were losing an employee that day. That's the kind of boss Cenk Uygur is. Didn't look out for the editing department at all. I'm surprised they knew my name when they fired me. You want to get You want to get an idea for the kind of disrespect at that place? Somebody who got fired in a previous round, the person who came up to fire them didn't know their name. Called them by the wrong name. Think about working for a place for years and the person comes up to fire you and they don't know your name. Think about that, just to give you a sense of the kind of respect environment that was going on there. A guy uses classification to deny people benefits, calls you part-time while you're working 40-hour weeks. It sounds like you guys probably think I don't have any respect for Cenk. I'm going to tell you, I have way more respect for him than he ever had for me. Why do we allow employers to abuse people because it's that employer-employee relationship? So we just go, oh, yeah, that's it. But if you did that to a stranger, you'd be like, oh my God. But it's a worker. We're allowed to fuck around with people's lives. People who show up to your business to help make you rich. They ran that commercial for the Bernie Sanders t-shirt up until like a few months ago, probably because I think they probably stopped because I've been talking about it. Stupid idiots. It's a good commercial. Keep playing it. Obviously it was working. It's your property. Use it. It's a really nice song, actually. I do actually quite like that. But this clearly this set me off right here. But man, we got a vote and they won. He wanted them to lose. He was hoping they would lose the vote. Do we have to keep doing this? Yes, we do. Here's his goddamn email saying, please don't unionize. They're available on Alex Thompson's Twitter. You want to go? Oh, God damn it. I didn't press the button here. Hold on. Sorry, everybody. Shit, did I have the other one working? Yeah, I did. Okay, good. I just got to remember. I'm new to this switchy thingy here. I set a different one up today. Here's his emails. You can read these all on Alex Thompson's Twitter through this link. This is him doing union busting tactics. It's really fascinating, actually. Here's his example. So, let me give you an example of what could happen if in a certain division you had a $300,000 budget for the year, hypothetically. Parentheses. And this really is a hypothetical, not some sort of veiled story. That's the one true part, is it actually is a veiled. You can hire 6 people at $50,000, or if they negotiate better pay, you can hire only 5 people at $60,000. But there is no magic that creates more money by having a union, especially at a company that does not yet make a profit. Basically, well, the executives seem to be making a profit. I know that the way companies operate, they have profit and loss statements, and if you're actually exceeding your income and expenses and operating expenses and all that other shit, I understand. I don't know anything about TYT's internal financials. I do remember him telling Brianna Joy Gray that he paid back the $20 million. So they must have been generating some kind of revenue in order to do that. The $20 million that they took from the Katzenberg investment groups. It was like a consortium of like 4 different companies. Continuing. Basically, in that hypothetical, you're making a decision on whether you'd like to make more money by throwing someone overboard. Classic union busting tactic. Speaking of which, unions can't save jobs, but they can fight for certain people in the company. This typically means people with seniority. Unions almost always prioritize. It's just like this nonsense. How expensive were these? I'm curious. I have no idea if they spent money on the union busting, but I can confirm that they use anti-worker union busting law firms, as the NLRB cases reveal. Pause the screen and read them. Go to Alex Thompson's Twitter. And I just would like to note here, this is a lie. No one ever raised a single issue. You saw me, you saw the issue. The blue highlighted stuff that I showed you. Is it on this one? It's somewhere down here, right? Yeah. Right here. This is someone raising issues. I don't have evidence to prove it, but I did have a meeting with HR. So I can't show I had a meeting with HR and the evidence other than you have to take my word on it. That eventually, this was somewhere in like May or early June. I think it was May. Yeah, it was May. It just seemed really crazy that they were taking this risk, that they had me classified as independent contractor. Why would you not just protect your flank in terms of this information getting out? Why would you create the possibility? This is the domination stuff. This is where Cenk thinks that power would have protected him, because I didn't matter to him. I was disposable. I was worth letting die if I got sick or injured. I raised the issue. It's just too long. There it's the red lines. And then suddenly they're engaged in trench warfare, where evil management that deprives their employees of the basics. He's saying this as if It can't be possible. How could you guys have a problem? We don't deprive people of the basics. Scroll down to the basics. Are these the basics, Cenk? Is this the basics? Healthcare? Should I read it? Should I torture my listeners yet once more? Yes, I shall. Highlighted in green. No benefits. Vacation, and then another green chunk here. Well, this part's not green. Including but not limited to, start the green, vacation and holiday pay, sick leave, leaves of absence, health and welfare benefits, including coverage for medical, dental, vision, accidental death and disability, long-term or short-term disability, or life insurance, severance benefits, retirement benefits, including pension or thrift plan contributions, and or any other benefits of any kind or nature provided to its employees. Oh yeah, that's right. I had it highlighted down here too. No benefits at all. So he's lying in the union busting emails. He's using union busting tactics in the emails. He's lying to Peter and Jen right here. Now, he's omitting a lot more, I should say, maybe in a technical sense. How the hell do I get this shit back now? Here, hold on a second. Oh yeah, it's actually simple. It doesn't, it's just, there you go. Yeah, cool. This really got me, man. Sorry, I know this is also a terrible way to make videos. No wonder people slowly finding the project. If I kept this at 10 minutes, it'd be
and it's not a matter of they won. When they won, we didn't lose. We also won.
Oh,
I
sure.
just needed clarity.
Clarity. You just needed clarity, sure. Then why withhold raises and bonuses? Why fire someone after the election ended? Cenk got smoked in that campaign to Christy Smith. Mike Garcia got second. I'm trying to remember who got third, but he came in fourth place. Why am I like? I know I need to have my hand in the camera in the shot, so I'm doing it like right by my face. Who gestures right next to their cheek? Because if I do it over here, you can't see it. That is incredibly ethically dubious, by the way. As the film explores, Cenk assigned editorial control of the company to Anna, or sorry, I should say executive editorial control of the main show to Anna, and editorial control to Judith Benezra, who's the director of programming. So he offloaded his editorial responsibility to both of those employees in order to uphold an ethical standard that he set for himself, being a media guy running for Congress. Michael Bloomberg faced certain issues. He didn't want his newsroom reporting on him. Ethically dubious, to say the least. Steve Forbes got mixed up into, because he was a candidate who also, in the 90s, because he wrote some columns, I think, in one of his publications while he was a candidate or around the time or something like that. I didn't really look too closely at it. But there's extra pitfalls for media bosses who are become politicians. And TYT made this big show that they were going to honor it. And then as he tells Matt Taibbi and Katie Halper on the Useful Idiots podcast when they were still with Rolling Stone, that he's inviting his company to do any investigating they want, anything they want. Kick them in the balls, Matt says, even if they kick you in the balls. Oh yeah, go for it. Yeah. Well, then this all goes down, and fucking silence is from the company. This has never been reported on. They had to hang a notice on the wall that said that they were union busters. Well, let me clarify. They did so much union busting, they had to put a notice that said from the NLRB for 60 days on the wall, saying because Cenk had violated Section 7 of the NLRA. It's not my opinion. It was written about in those articles, very detailed. I lost my train of thought. God damn it. Fuck. There was a... Okay, got the train of thought back. So he made this big show about his ethical obligations, a standard he sets for himself. And there was not a single bit of coverage from this. Francesca Fiorentini tweeted support for the union on the 12th when it came forward. If you compare the way she tweeted it to the way Anna tweeted it on the 21st, you can see drastically different approaches. Anna has never addressed this. I mean, she's been asked about it in a few other times, but like in terms of the the documentary project I'm working on. I'll be curious if she ever does. Things were incredibly difficult for her at that time. She was facing a lot of pressure. I'm sure it was a difficult situation, and I'm of the opinion that she's among the group that was misled and took advantage of by Cenk through his weaponizing the trust that people had in him to prevent people from finding out why his workers unionized. And so then the ethics come up, because the idea is, the other thing is that he had handed over control of the company as acting CEO, or formally, but like it was, meaning like I'm not sure the precise title. It might have been acting COO or something like that. But he gave up being CEO to his number two, this guy Jack Gerard, who has a past. His previous position before working for TYT was health insurance executive. He was a health insurance executive for 12 years on his LinkedIn when it was public. So this guy Jack is calling the shots. Judith is calling the shots for the company editorially, everything except the main show. Anna's calling the shots for editorially for the company, everything except just on the main show. At least that's the theory we're supposed to accept. And it's inappropriate for a candidate who is a politician to make political decisions that are in the interests of his business. That's why they have to separate control. So he can't be accused of, especially with him when it comes to media, is that his appearances on his own shows, which he did like 4, he went on Damage Report, I don't know, 3 or 4 times at least on as a guest on Anna's show, The Young Turks with Cenk Uygur and Anna Conspiracy. So he went as a guest on his own shows. It's BS. There's a sequence in the film about that, of where Anna introducing him. But so they were making a show of that, at least honoring it publicly as some sort of ethical line that they were trying to stay on the correct side of. But you need to keep your business decisions separated from your political decisions, or else your appearances on your own shows risk becoming in-kind contributions to your campaign, undisclosed in-kind contributions. That is a massive legal risk and ethical risk. That's probably statute. I'm not saying I can. I'm just saying that that's the layman's version of it, as best as I can offer. Obviously, some sort of attorney content creator, or Peter and Jen probably have a better grasp of this stuff than I do. And so I'm just saying that, though, if we're supposed to believe that firing somebody from the bargaining unit the morning after the boss's election loss doesn't raise a little ethical red flag, then something's wrong with your reasoning. Clearly, it would have been bad for the campaign before the election to be firing people from the union that they were union busting. Utterly befuddling how incredibly stupid it was to do union busting while running for Congress. I think I was trying to get at that before, and I say it over and over, but like this plot that he's suggesting happened is that he files for his paperwork on the 13th. We had our first meeting, I think 13th was a Tuesday. We had our first meeting that week. So there's a slight overlap. Our first in-person meeting, when I went and I bought the shitty coffee cake. And so he's expecting his audience to believe that Cenk files his papers Tuesday night late, and that by Friday morning, a group of workers from his company had a physical in-person meeting with the organizers from IATSE. So that means that we were contacted, persuaded into a in-person unionization meeting with IATSE organizers, all within the span of like 2 days, 2 or 3 days, to get ready for a Friday morning meeting. And it's the stupidest plot in the world, because although this is not true anymore, based on evidence we have that Cenk is a union buster and a known union buster and a proven union buster, but like, so you wouldn't make this now, but no one would predict that anybody would be this stupid to say no to the union. The plot only works. The bear trap only closes if he says no, if he rejects the union. Why would you predict that he would do that? Even knowing, we knew that he wouldn't like it. I knew that he wouldn't like it. I was nervous about how intense it was going to be around the office, but I knew that we would all come out stronger after that. I didn't anticipate that I was going to get laid off. And when I started organizing the union, I didn't know he was going to become a politician in 6 months. But nobody would have predicted he'd be stupid enough. We knew he would hate it. We knew he's kind of a control freak. Not that he walks around and tells you how you're supposed to do your Premiere Pro editing or something like that. but he became weaker because we became stronger. Because capitalists have coward strength. They only have strength because they keep you weak, because they make sure you have low leverage. That's the fundamental core of all of this. Probably the only reasonable sentence I've said this entire show. So the official story he wants his workers, or he wants the audience to believe. Now, again, he's not even addressing that he's a union buster. He's not even saying that. And maybe it comes back up. I don't know how much more there is. I mean, I don't think there's a lot more, but I know there's more. The official narrative is that, according to him, is that Nancy Pelosi set the most obvious trap in the history of traps. And his dumbass walked right into it. Oh, gee, gosh, how do I get, oh my God, there's a union. What do I do? Well, how do I not fall into this? How do I avoid damaging myself with this? Gee, I can't think of anything. I'm just going to have to reject the union and do union busting. And I'm running for Congress as a progressive who claims to care about the little guy. Boop, 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 boom. Oh no, ow, my foot. It's in a bear trap. Oh no. Unbelievable. That's his out. Because again, he needed to erase our story so he could replace it with his. He wasn't union busting. He was fighting the establishment. The establishment had it out for him. That dang Christy Smith with that endorsement. Anna Kasparian told Nomiki Konst on a show in July of that year that Nancy Pelosi was following TYT Union on Twitter.
This Twitter page pops up out of nowhere, right? And it's TYT Union, and no one had any idea what that was, or, you know, what's going on? Is this real? And one of the people following that TYT Union page was Nancy Pelosi, who very clearly despises Cenk, and was doing anything and everything possible to get to ensure that Christy Smith would beat him in the Democratic primary. So understandably, like, Cenk's going to be suspicious of that. Like, what is this, and why is Nancy Pelosi following it?
I could not confirm if that was true or if that was ever true. I don't know how if there's like an archive of when, you know, a snapshot of that timeline where you could see who Nancy Pelosi was following. And even if that was the case, how is that supposed to mean the workers didn't deserve their union? Not that that's what Anna was arguing necessarily on the Nomiki interview. That's a really interesting video to watch, actually. There's a lot of stuff going on in that one. Solely ethically dubious that he waited until the morning after he fired somebody to, waited until the morning after he lost an election to fire someone who was in the bargaining unit for the union. It would have looked really bad. So we're supposed to believe maybe Jack just maybe that decision just, you know, had nothing to do with maybe the business decisions and the political decisions. Just a complete coincidence. Complete coincidence that that decision clearly lines up at a moment where it wouldn't hurt his election chances. Let's keep going. I think I've beaten off that dead horse enough.
To make sure that my employees actually wanted it. And the minute they wanted it, great, no problem.
No. Okay. The minute they wanted it. Let's look at the minute they wanted it. Here, it's right here. Look. I've got it down to the literal minute. 9:03 a.m. on February 12, 2020. The Young Turks comes forward. The logical leftist, Jeff's Politics, Jeff Waldorf, says this is wonderful news. The crew from TYT Union, the crew of the Young Turks has organized. Statement from the TYT Union Organizing Committee. We're proud to work behind the scenes at TYT to create online content that's bold, entertaining, and unapologetically progressive. There is no other news and talk network quite like TYT, and the perspective our network brings to its political coverage is resolutely pro-justice and pro-worker. You're wrong, TYT Union, they're not pro-worker. What if I started fighting with them? We're proud of our content, and we're proud to put into practice in our workplace the values that our work helps bring to the screen every day. In our decision to go union, we join the wave of recent organizing in digital media, and we stand in solidarity with the renaissance of labor activism we see now in workplaces of all kinds throughout the country. Post engagements here, quote tweets. That's on February 12th, 2020. There's a guy named Hank Thompson tweeted, solidarity with my former colleagues. I was laid off a month ago, but I'm proud of everyone standing together to build a stronger company. Workers of the world unite. Hashtag TYT Live, hashtag Too Strong. Francesca Fiorentini, solidarity. This crew works so hard and are some of the most committed people I've met. I skipped over myself here. So the minute they wanted it was 9:03 a.m. on February 12th, 2020. So why did it take 2 months for that vote that Cenk wanted? And I have this referenced here in this long tweet thread I wrote of all the evidence of TYT's union busting, by the way. Here's TYT Union. Let's center their voice. Their voice is what matters. They wrote, this is on February 25th, 2020. Okay, so I think this is a Tuesday, right? Friday the 21st, 22, 23, 20, yeah, Tuesday. The way forward is clear. The Young Turks needs to respect the choice we have already made instead of trying to pressure us out of it. Hashtag count the cards, hashtag union strong, hashtag TYT live. They write, we have officially notified the company that their election proposal doesn't work for us. Now remember, this is the Cenk saying we wanted another union, or sorry, we wanted another election. We want to just, he just wants to clarify. He just wants clarity. Oh, I just wanted a little clarity there. And time to really turn the screws internally on the employer-employee relationship that I benefit so greatly from. These people who have all my Cenk-shaped boot prints all over my back, all over their backs, whose time, talent, and labor, and well, plenty of non-unionized people. TYT is like 70-something employees, and this union is 15 or so. To continue here. We already voted, they put in italicized here. By signing union cards, we offered to have a neutral party confirm our majority on cards. Progressives and all the major Democratic presidential candidates agree that card check is the fair way for workers to democratically choose a union without being bullied by the boss. That's underlined. The Young Turks said they would only recognize our union after having us vote again, in italics, in an election on the company's terms. TYT made no offer to remain neutral in any new election. This lack of employer neutrality is especially troubling given management's union-busting conduct in a mandatory captive audience, in quotes, staff meeting held on Wednesday, February 12th, reported on yesterday in the Huffington Post. He threw papers on the ground. He yelled at somebody. Sounds like it was a very intense meeting. You can read about it in that Huffington Post article. Worse, TYT is attempting to manipulate who is eligible for the election. Oh, challenging the composition of the bargaining unit? Where did they get that idea to do a classic union-busting tactic? Including trying to exclude multiple coworkers who share a community of interest. Another textbook union-busting tactic. Well, they got it from the textbook. The way forward is clear. TYT needs to respect the choice we have already made instead of trying to pressure us out of it. So this thread actually is answering Cenk, is his insistence. Just a little preview. We'll probably get to this, where he says he's not a union buster. Okay, here's him answering a call. This is like October of 2024, I think. And he was confronted about it, and here's what he says.
Are you a union buster?
No, I'm definitely not a union buster. So,
there's evidence that proves otherwise, though.
What evidence? All right, brother.
What evidence? And then he panic hangs up.
You've had a nice run. Bye-bye.
Oh, no, accountability. I'm scared. That's my Cenk Uygur impression. Accountability, run. Oh, no. What evidence? Here's the workers' voice. They had to do an Action Network petition. See? Can you read it? Is it coming up there? Let's go to the link. Maybe that'll frame it up easier. It's still live. You can go to it and read it. Tell the Young Turks to recognize their crew's union. Target Cenk Uygur, founder of the Young Turks. A majority of us on the Young Turks production and post-production employees have voted to form a union by signing authorization cards. On February 12th, we officially requested that the company recognize our decision to go union. Rather than living up to the network's progressive values and honoring our choice, Cenk Uygur and the Young Turks Inc. are fighting against us with age-old union-busting tactics, including attempting to force a do-over election on the company's terms. That's what he's telling Jen and Peter about. Holding a tense captive audience meeting and pressuring us not to support the union. That is link goes to the Huffington Post article. Here, look, I'll just click on it. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. See, it's real. Go back to it. Oh, jeez, come on. I got Huffington. Okay, there we go. What's happening? What's happening? Oh God. My fingers. I can't stop them. 3, firing a union supporter for creating, quote unquote, creating a hostile work environment. That links to the Indies Times article. Here you go. Look at this. Headline, the Young Turks union fight gets nastier with charges of retaliatory firing, withholding raises. Now, Cenk defends himself in this one he's interviewed. Give him credit at least for speaking to these reporters. I'd love it if some journalists got a hold of my project here and wanted to talk to me and get my take. Also, go get TYT's take. You know, he should have to explain why he uses, calls people part-time while they work 40-hour weeks. I think that's an important question. The worker's right. We love this company and its mission of providing a platform for progressive voices. It's why we work here, but we think TYT should live by its principles. Join us in demanding an end to the senseless union busting campaign. And then if you signed your petition, you get this here. To Cenk Uygur, founder of the Young Turks, from your name. Now, that would be your name, not Dear Mr. Uygur and executives of the Young Turks, production and post-production workers at TYT voted to form a union by card authorization vote. We stand with the TYT crew. Union busting has no place in the quote-unquote home of progressives. We call on you to undo your retaliatory actions, grant card check, and recognize the TYT crew's union. Anybody getting a sense that he was being upfront about what happened when he's talking to Jen and Peter? The minute they wanted it, great, no problem. You mean the minute you lost your union busting campaign? Doesn't mean I don't catch fish when I go fishing, but I still call myself a fisherman. We're going to keep going here.
IATSE came in and is now the union for our editors, graphics people, and stage managers.
There you go.
All wonderful people, love them. And then we have these, probably the most
wonderful people, love them. Do you mean me too, buddy? Because I stood up to try to get health care at my workplace? Here's how Cenk reacted when my name was brought up on Francesca Fiorentini's The Bituation Room podcast.
It is concerning that there are so many former TYT employees, and let's put Dor and Rubin aside, but people like Ben Dixon and Emma Vigland, and even longtime contributors who were editors like Hank. I remember Hank, and like the fact that, he helped start the TYT union and now has obviously
nothing.
Okay, but I knew Hank was such a great guy, and Emma and Ben are such. I'm just saying. I'm telling you, these are.
There he is. That's this video right here. Find it. Find it in the TYT related. That's a long one. I also did like a quickie short version, 6 minutes right there. That's like a highlight reel basically. So he loves the people who started the union. He didn't count on someone like me or anybody, honestly. I think anybody would have not. I mean, it's overly generic, but like, if this stuff is not reason to unionize, no benefits. And not only is it just like, oh, it could have been a mistake. When I asked for help, they said, okay, sure, we'll just call you part-time. Still no benefits. Work 40-hour weeks while we call you part-time. And this idiot's surprised that people unionized at his company when he attracts leftists, movement, people who want to contribute to the movement. I don't know, maybe don't run a business where you hire aspiring filmmakers and then give them a really crazy story to make a film about. Genius. I swear I would be such a good instructor at the Wharton School of Idiots. I know I would do great there. They must be so embarrassed. So let's go more here. I really haven't been looking too closely at the chat though.
Friendly negotiations in union and management history. It's folks that I work.
That's a bit of a strange claim. The union and the most friendly negotiations in union and management. There's been companies where the bosses wanted a union or they accepted a union. I remember reading about Josh Marshall Talking Points memo. Apparently he got like a text on his phone, something he found out on his way to work. He accepted the union before he got to work. Probably looked at his phone, was like, oh, walk. Yeah, makes sense. Let's do it. I'm not privy to the negotiations. I don't know how friendly or unfriendly they might have been. They took 18 months, which itself was a union-busting tactic to try to delay things. In Cenk's defense, COVID was kicking in around this time, right? So in February, people were still going into the office all over the country, not just TYT or whatever. But, then working from home kicked in, and so that might have added complexity. 18 months of union negotiations, though, means you're not paying union rates during that time. And that's actually one of the reasons the film took a long time to come out, because it seems like it's kind of in the distant past with all of our goldfish brains. This injustice is still alive. He's still telling falsehoods about it to this day. So this is a good reason why this needs to be done. Hassan spread misinformation about it the other day. Really annoying, inadvertently. That's another reason this film needs to be done. But I didn't start. I did a podcast on March 3rd before his election results came in. And then I didn't do anything at all until they ratified their negotiation, which is, 18 months later. And that's where Cenk did the video where he called it a bumpy start. And then saying it had nothing to do with how they treat workers.
Our relationship got off to a bumpy start in the beginning, but that was due to a lot of different reasons having nothing to do with how we treat employees here. But I'm really glad with how.
Those were lies. Those were more deception to his audience. Acting like it's the friendliest negotiations. I don't know. Maybe it was. Who knows? I'm sure Cenk's attitude totally changed. This control freak, power mad psycho.
With every day, and they're on the other side. And we've had 2 contracts with IATSE. We're both super happy with it. So there's no issues at all with the union at TYT. It was.
Well, then why did you guys, what was the emails all about? The week, I don't know the date of those emails, but they were before the election on April 9th. Was this bullshit? What is all this? You didn't actually have to fire people to pay rates? 50,000. This isn't, again, he says this is hypothetical. My take home, I think, for that year was around 42 or 43 because I got paid overtime. I was even told I wasn't supposed to receive overtime by the HR lady because apparently independent contractors weren't. But the other editors all got overtime because you're expected to kind of stick it out until the day's work is done. And sometimes you just have to edit a little bit more. Maybe there's more things need doing or some technical problems. Can't just stop. It would really be destructive to the company to have an editor. I did main show editing. That wasn't my primary thing, but I did a lot of fill-in editing. I'd go in and get notes from Cenk. Totally fine, totally normal, go make sure I implement them. I was a very fast editor, very good at editing. So was this bullshit? You're happy with the contract, but yet you sent a whole bunch of emails talking about how bad it all is and how terrible it's going to be, and you're going to have to hurt people. You might endanger the company. So what was this about then? Also describing IATSE came in here. No, we invited IATSE. We asked IATSE to help us curb our boss's unethical and terrible business practices and employment practices. How many times do I need to keep repeating myself? No wonder these things go on forever, huh? All right, keep going.
It's just an understandable misunderstanding, miscommunication in the beginning. But right.
Understandable misunderstanding, miscommunication in the beginning. Like I said, if they had said, okay, we've been under attack by the mainstream media. And in fact, and I'm going to include this in the film. There's going to be a sequence about Summer Lee and Jessica Cisneros and Jamal Bowman and India Walton. I think that one especially really jumps out because that's for a mayor, not for a Congress thing. And Cenk Uygur, Nina Turner. Like the effectiveness with which, and I actually think probably Jen Perelman probably had, I know she's run for office. Perhaps if we ever have a conversation, we can talk about that. But the way that progressives are targeted and very effectively fought off by establishment Democrats, by the Pelosi's of the world, is absolutely true. And Cenk would have fit right into that. It's extra complicated because of his prominence, because of his bloviating personality, because of his past sexism. That stuff was going to be really problematic for Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders did this unendorsement thing. This is detailed in the film. For within the span of 24 hours, he endorsed him and then unendorsed him because the sexism stuff had already been circulating quite largely on Twitter, and it's not hard to find. It's really gross. I'm actually really embarrassed that I wasn't repulsed by that stuff back then. Try to keep some room open for people to grow and change. I've certainly changed. Not that I was tuning in for that stuff, but it was all about Cenk's horny appetites for whether they would have sex with the women that they were covering, the celebrity stories that they were doing. Their lyrics to their original song details the rating of women and saying, like, he rates women, the 5 tiers, and then it's a song, it's that ska song, the Young Turk Show, a talk show. You know, I mean, old timer TYT or you're having memories. I know if you haven't heard it, you're probably wondering what I'm doing. But if you read the lyrics to the song, and then it goes on to tier 1 wouldn't do, tier 2 maybe on some beer, tier 3, and like it just lists out all these ways whether he would have sex with women, which is like the narcissistic kind of immature appetite capitalist user exploiter abuser type of personality, where the most flattering thing they can say is they love you, or they will do things to your body. That's acceptance to that type of personality. Misunderstanding communication in the beginning.
Right now, everybody's happy, and these guys who haven't worked here in 5 years.
Right now, that must be me. Yeah. Right now, everybody's happy.
Put out this ridiculous thing as if like there's like this big fight and we fought it and we don't want it.
Okay. Are you serious? I mean, do I need to just go back 40 minutes on this podcast, everybody? I'm not going to do it all over again. So guys that worked there for 5 years ago. Yeah. I didn't like being lied about. I didn't like that you lied about my friends. I didn't like being disrespected so much. Called part-time, working 40-hour weeks. Give me a fucking break. God damn it. I'm so pissed off that I had to do this. I wanted to make woodworking videos, dude. My goal for this film is to finish it, to get the fundraiser done, to try to pay my roommate back. I'm deep in debt. I have not made a dime off of this shit. I would hope to get some money for support just to finish it, to pay some bills. And then I want to start doing like editing tutorials and editing, like hopefully selling like courses. Like I need to make money. I can't work. This thing will make me unemployable. I'd love to work in other documentary projects. Maybe I'm autistic. I'm in a burnout stage. My goal in life is to get to the point financially and like stress wise, bring the stress down enough that my beard might grow back. That's all I want to do. Is I'd love to give my body a chance to grow its beard back. I'm losing hair. I went bald at 19, so I'm so masculine I've gone bald twice. But like I went bald at a young age, but now my eyebrows are going, and they dye the lashes, and they're thin, and then they point down, and then I have to look through my dying eyelashes as my body can no longer support hair growth. That's what I want. And if I can finish this fucking project, get this wretched baby out of my womb, be done with it, move on. Unfortunately, it seems like it might succeed in terms of people's interests, so that sucks. And then I think I'm a really good, I've helped people, like I've done like private tutorial, not for pay or anything, but like I've helped friends. It's so much better than editing for some asshole. Sorry, I don't mean to call my clients assholes, but you know what I mean. It's like being a piano teacher kind of thing. Like I'd love to just help people learn Photoshop and editing and stuff. So now, this is interesting, though. He is mentioning this. This is directly talking about me. We fought it. We don't want it. So is he going to say that that's a lie? You already know. By the way, you know way more than TYT's audience does at this point because you've been watching this. God damn it, it's over 2 hours, motherfucker.
They're living in a world that doesn't exist. Like, I just talked to a TYT employee.
Really? Gaslighting.
Today, just randomly. She'd gone to somewhere else to work and then came back in 3 months. She's like, oh my God, TYT is built different. This place actually cares, right? The other places are nightmares to work for. If you ever worked at
This sounds like James Woods talking to Sharon Stone in Casino. I'm the only one that's for you, baby. I'm the one, you know that. You know I'm the one that you would have, baby. I don't even know. Does that even make sense? Contemporary film reference. So I mean, I don't have any idea what he's talking about as far as somebody else. I'm not trying to claim that he had a conversation with somebody who went somewhere else and came back and told him how great of a boss he is. Yeah. Okay. Fine. All right. Yeah. So he's defensive about whether he's a good or a bad boss. Let's look at the chat though. We are seeing some people talking. Let's see. David Hunter NYC says, Cenk, you hired lawyers and fought them for 2 years. Well, I mean, I guess if you include the negotiation phase as a union busting tactic, that would be accurate. I gotta press escape. I don't want to. I always feel like I'm going to accidentally report somebody when I don't mean to. He's referring to Jimmy Dore. Interesting. Lewis Garden says, you know how Cenk is lying. His lips are moving. Got him, Lewis.
TYT, you don't really want to work anywhere else. And I'm super proud of that.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Let's make the font. I can't back up, but smaller there. So somebody told him that they would never want to work anywhere else, and he's very proud of the workplace environment that he foments. The place where workers had to reach out to IATSE twice. Once, and the first time got frozen off because of a round of firings where someone among that group got fired by a person who didn't know their name. And then I come in just wanting to keep enough income to keep my head on straight because I was doing Postmates. I'd done some freelance editing, really stressful. I wasn't making any. I mean, I was so desperate, and I was so grateful for the opportunity to have a regular job with work I was good at with people I liked. I just wanted the same disrespect everybody else got, man. And I had to unionize my workplace in order to try to go to a doctor. And guess who agreed that I should be able to see a doctor? Everybody else who with whom we started it, except Cenk. Cenk wasn't of the opinion that I deserved health insurance or paid days off. I earned money that they didn't give me. He's proud of his workplace, though.
For sure. I mean, I don't know why people so why are people saying in our chat you're a union buster? They don't know the whole story.
Oh, look at him. Look at
him. And I don't blame him, Jen. I don't blame him because all they heard was from one side, and these guys saying, "Oh my God, they're union busters, etc." From that one miscommunication from like 5 years ago, right?
Oh, the one giant fucking lie that was a provably false story about why the union started. The giant miscommunication was his attempt to prevent his audience from learning why the workers unionized. The three ethical boundaries that Cenk crossed here is, one is the working conditions that was to unionize. Two, the union busting itself. It's bullying. It's a fucking disgusting thing to do to people. And three is the lie, the conspiracy, this bullshit story that outsiders started the union in order to harm his campaign. That's unethical on so many levels. Failure to do any fact checking, smearing the workers who are unionizing, just trying to exercise their right to collectively organize. Lying to the audience that trusts what this guy had built up. Good God. So he's saying that I'm really glad to see that she brought that up, and now he's saying, well, that's because they haven't been, they believe somebody that's not, I mean, I'm paraphrasing. So he's saying, trust him on the story.
So they don't have, most of the people saying that, they don't even realize we have a union. They don't realize that we had two
there's
union
more
contracts
bullshit
with them.
Sorry, more bullshit. Okay, let's finish this because I think we're close to the end of this part, but this is the gaslighting thing that he does, stating that since we have a union, it can't possibly be a union buster. That's because he thinks you're stupid. He thinks you're stupid, Peter and Jen. He thinks you guys are stupid if you're going to believe that.
They don't realize that both IATSE is perfectly happy with us. All the employees are perfectly happy with us. So I don't blame the people who've been misled. I blame the people who are misleading.
And it's done on purpose.
That's where the responsibility lies, is people with more power, more responsibility, a much larger voice. Cenk Uygur with Anna Kasparian. She's not management, but she did play a role in participating here, and she had an obligation to do fact checking, which, as far as I've been able to ascertain, she didn't. If she wants to come forward and tell me I'm wrong about that, I will definitely correct it.
It's totally done on purpose. I mean, it's all done on purpose. And I usually think it's people that.
That's too bad that she's thinking, but that's okay. Again, the thing he just said is that people believe that misleading because they were misled. He just misled her. And look, this is the lie working. He's got a big old eraser and he's just continuously erasing the actual truth about what happened here. Jen, he's lying to you. I really gonna have to do another fucking version of this. It's like 10 minutes because who's gonna want to watch this whole thing?
I think people are jealous and they like to cut people down. And I think that people don't like people in their own field to get too far ahead. And especially, unfortunately, in this industry, it's very common. There is so much ego and so much bullshit and so many people can't play nice together that, you know, for a long time, I'm like,
listen, I'm not going to push hard on Jen for this. She just got lied to. This is exactly the thing that I'm making a stink about. He knows, Jen, listen, he knows you trust him and you're helping him cover it up right now. Not saying you're doing it on purpose. I'm saying that your trust in him is now being weaponized to erase this worker's story. The worker's truth is being erased right now. Not saying it again. I'd love to come on and clarify. Check out the Substack. Check out everything I got. Interrogate my credibility. I can be succinct if I try. Trust me, it's possible. I've done it. I did stand up for 6 years. Nothing forces you to be succinct more than stand up fucking comedy. I miss it so much. I bring it up all the time because it's one of the few periods of my life where I felt like I had something to live for.
I wish there was like this network and whatever. And the reason that I think it's so hard for that to really work is people don't get.
And she might be conceiving of. He didn't say who it is. He didn't give any details. Like this vagueness is part of the way it works. This vagueness is part of him just making sure that he maintains the confusion. Because what's happening here is I'm coming along. I'm saying, hey, this cloud of confusion, go away, cloud. Don't be confused by this, everybody. I was there. I'm an original source. I know more about this than Cenk does. Not in terms of my role and in terms of what the workers had to go through. And I'm saying this is not true. It's not okay for this cloud of confusion to obscure the truth of this story. And he's spending this interview as him just grabbing a bunch of aerosol cans and going, okay, oh shit, Hank is causing all the clouds. I need more confusion. I need more confusion. I need to keep weaponizing the trust of people. I need to keep weaponizing the trust that Jen has in me, that Peter has in me. Look at how little respect he's showing for you two. Do you get it? Don't have to believe me. Read the articles. Go look at the NLRB cases. If you've watched all this, I bet I've seen you guys' show. I'd love to come on. Let's talk about it. Let's have an honest conversation about this. This is important stuff. It's bigger than Cenk. It's way bigger than Cenk. This is class struggle shit. This is what the problem with the world is, that the workers need more agency over their lives so we can have a hope of stopping the bosses, the billionaires, the exploiters, the abusers, the users like Cenk from destroying the planet with their greed. The timeline on the order of like building a socialist paradise, again, I'm not naive, but that would be a couple of 100 years probably. But climate change is forcing that to be, it's probably about 10 years now. In other words, it's going to get real bad before it gets better. This climate thing is absolutely changing. It's actually an engineering question as much as anything else. I think that's a better way of conceiving why we need to change. We can't destroy. We're hamsters living in a cage, and we can't ruin the entire cage.
Belong for really long periods of time.
And Jen, there's also unfortunately like both like attention and financial incentive to attack us.
Oh my God.
Because you'll see on some channels.
First of all, if he's talking about other people, I know there's this. He feels very attacked and put upon because people are criticizing him. Just take it as a compliment. It just at least shows that Cenk is still influential. I mean, you got to keep your influence up so that you can be more valuable to the right. But if he means me, and I mean, let's just, in some sense, he does. What's the financial incentive to make yourself completely unemployable? I'm making a documentary. I want attention for the documentary. I'm a professional video editor and an aspiring filmmaker. Of course, I want attention on the story. Who makes a video that doesn't want attention? Coming from the dude who just took money from Polymarket, I don't know how much, for a year, Live from the Polyrocket Studios, a place that had been letting you place. It's illegal to do in the United States, but you can offshore gambling on genocide. Offshore gamble on the fires in LA. Now they got a new gambling sponsor. For money. Begging this guy, just begging for money. How many times am I going to have to show you? I know I don't. I know you've seen it. I know, but we got to keep doing it. Look at all this money. Look at this. 20 days of unpaid days off that if I had been classified the same as the role was on Friday, I would have gotten this much money right here. That's $3,460. I didn't get the bonus that I deserved for the entire year. They gave me a bonus parceled out to 79 days of the year instead of 365 days because I was hired for the third time in October of that year. I have all the evidence just sitting here. Here's my performance review. Pause it and read it. Does that seem like somebody who did a bad job? Oh, God damn it. Money and incentive. That's just so ridiculous. I mean, yeah, it's online videos. What the fuck do you think people are doing? We're all addicted. We all have to get money. I was able, and I say this in the movie, I know I keep, but like I was so stressed, man. And I had worn out my shoes doing deliveries, and I was so embarrassed that at my age, because I started like my comedy career and my like entertainment or career shift because I ran an aquarium business in Chicago before that, and hoping to contribute to the cause that Cenk had set up. And I was very motivated to contribute to TYT back when I first came and worked for the guy for $3,000 a month. But I was so stressed now into the 2018, 2019 period, and after a few months though, I had debt I had to pay, and I was able to pay my bills with that income. Grateful for it. Just that I had some stress relief finally, and I was finally able to buy shoes. Was finally able to buy fucking shoes after about 2 or 3 months. And I was like pridefully humiliated that I had to save up. I know people go through far worse than that. And this whole story, this is just a minor footnote. But this fucking asshole talking about money incentives. Every single X there is a day that I didn't, that was ruined because I didn't get paid for time off when I was working 40 hours. Working full time.
The video has 200 views, 300 views, 180 views. Attacks TYT has 100,000 views.
Right.
I wish that was true. Are you kidding me? Okay. Okay. Let's hold on. First, let's just hang on to that thought. People are in the chat. So people make money off making videos about this drama. I mean, there is a whole little cottage industry, people that make videos about the largest show on the progressive side. Listening at Work says union efforts started before Cenk's campaign. Cenk is lying about the union fight. People don't like Vanguard. I've seen lots of comments that people say, I hated Vanguard, but then I kind of checked them out. Now I like them. You guys actually turned me around. The Vanguard guys cover Cenk and Anna's farts like it's their full-time job. JRB wrote that. Maybe those farts are what caused those fires. They were farting on those drugs all the homeless people cook. Earth Creature, Jen can't even stick up for truth. Oh, that's Jen. I thought, because sometimes Cenk, when in the transcript, comes up as JEN. So, all right. But views get 180 views. Get this. That's not true at all, dude. I wish that was fucking true. I wish my TYT videos got 100,000. Let's look at it here. I said, hold on to the thought. Yeah, look at the views. These are 212, 634, 395. Great thumbnail, by the way. That's those green eyes. 60 views on my one about Kamala's long arm. The Majority Report view. I thought I had SEO'd the shit out of that one. 496, 263 on a podcast. That's a 5-hour podcast. A clip from the film. busting the union was the worst business decision ever. 182. Mike Figueredo video here. He actually was incredibly gracious about his appearance in the film. I was stunned and so relieved. 1,000 views. Look at these numbers. I wish what he said was true. So, I mean, you know, it might be in some sense true for others or something like that, but it's not. You know, again, he strawmans, he exaggerates. His whole thing is shouldn't be trusted.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's a hell of a thing to resist. And so again, the people that watch them, they don't really quite understand that that's what's driving those folks. And so I never blame.
They're just driven by that greed that they can't resist. Oh, Elon, sir, rub my belly. Oh, I put some special secret Elon juice on my belly to make it easier. I greased up my belly for Mr. Elon, sir. May I have, please, sir, buy me MSNBC. Put me in charge of MSNBC. No, he didn't say that directly. I'm just inferring it.
Them, but for the folks who look at that and go, well, I mean, I don't know if I believe it or not, but hey, I got a lot of views on it, so I'm just going to keep going in this direction. Yeah, I mean, do better.
Right.
Dude, I'll get so many better views on my Photoshop tutorials than I will on this shit. Clearly, it's not working all that well in terms of this.
We've called out Anna Kasparian before on this show. I have, regarding her calling out Aaron Mate and how she reacted to him. We've called it out. And I don't, but we're a very per issue kind of people. I don't give blanket statements. To me, everybody does things that are good and everybody does things that aren't so good. And it's incumbent upon us to call people out when we find them doing things that we don't agree with. But that doesn't mean.
A little bit from the chat here. David Hunter says, Cenk would pay his non-union workers next to nothing. Ask his nephew Hassan. All right. Interesting. Yep. I'm going to have,
That's not somebody that I would work with on 10 million other things. So
let me just say it real quick on that.
Yeah.
I agree with Anna on Aaron Mate, but so what? Okay, so like, does that mean I have to hate you for agreeing with it? No, of course not, right? And you mentioned Israel earlier, and and on this one, I think everybody knows that.
All right, let's check the transcript just to see if there's any more. I think that's it, though. That I'm pretty sure we're at the end. Yeah. So what I think I might do is record another one and just force myself to keep it under like 15 because I'm gonna just jump over to everything else. I'll probably leave the chat off because it's fresh on my mind right now. I really don't want to do that right now, but I'm just going to do that. Here, look, Control F, Union, and you can see the giant chunk here. Oh, you can't on the screen. Oh, okay, sorry. Oh, it is okay. Sorry. Yeah, so it seems like they're moving on to something else. Yeah, that's interesting stuff, isn't it? Making the film, working on this whole thing. Now, of course, I've gone long. Going to be another long edit. With the first part, over 3-hour podcast, of course. But I think I need to do like a short one, just to get this done and just stick to the points. So, all right. Well, listen, guys, thanks for tuning in. A lot of work for me here to had more to do, more to go. Thanks for keeping up the fight. This is exactly why we got to make this movie. This is exactly why I need your help. I'm a little bit battered. I'm a little bit beat up in this whole deal, all this time, all this effort. And hopefully if people rally to my side here and we join up, and it's obviously there's so many other things in the world right now that are far more intense and scary and distracting and overwhelming. I'm hoping that there's still some space for this project, and it is going to be a bright spot to hold this guy accountable using nothing but the truth that I can prove with evidence, with all the stuff, and putting it into an entertaining package, and hopefully educate people about unions. Americans need to learn more. We need to wake up the dormant power of solidarity that's in America, that's in the hearts of Americans. Everybody's fucking fed up with this stuff, and it is going to keep happening with Trump. Is the looting is already underway. It's super aggressive. It's going to be a weird, scary time right now, and hopefully this story can be a bright spot for us so that we can not just hold somebody accountable, not just bring some justice to this story and make Cenk Uygur the face of union busting for, I like to say, for 1,000 years, because that's fun and dramatic. But I hope it's cathartic. I hope others can kind of tell their stories. Not just kind of, but I mean, I don't want just it to be about me. I'm leaning into it. I'm telling my story, because also I don't necessarily want to just take over and be like, I'm the young, I can't tell the other workers, you know what I mean? Like in order for me to feel like I'm not overdoing their side of it, because I feel a responsibility to be accurate and forthright, but like that means I have to kind of keep it focused on me in that sense. But I want that to become a backbone for others. And maybe, because how many times have you not been able to stand up to somebody? How many times have people had to put up with some shit from their boss? How much bullshit have you had to deal with in your life? And it's in so many ways, way beyond just this type of thing. How many ways? So hopefully there's some catharsis for people. Hopefully it'll feel good for us to sort of make sure that using the truth that this guy isn't able to do the stuff that he's done, and that other people can learn from it, and that we're going to stand up to him. Solidarity brought him to heel. It's already worked, and we're going to do it again. Tell the truth, Cenk. You're a journalist, they say. The marketing department likes to say. Is there no obligation to retract and apologize? It's not okay. This is not okay. Tell the truth. So that could be that could be fun for everybody. Patreon.com/winners and losers. If you'd like to support, there's other links in the description. Consider helping out if you can. Promote, like, share, comment, just watch. I don't, it's not like you don't have to have money. Don't feel weird about the money thing. The idea that I'm doing this for money is outrageous, completely absurd. I financed this film with rent debt and a workers' comp payout because I destroyed the cartilage in my wrists at a woodworking job. I got injured from vibrating tools. I can't use my fucking hands for the rest of my life. I'm so unemployable. There's a reason autistic unemployment rate is in the 80s. I can do it. I can make something happen independently as an independent video creator and producer. I have a lot of experience in that. I'd like to teach it. I'd like to work on it. I like the podcast. I'm a big talker. So I have hope for that reason. But if I didn't have my roommate's generosity, kindness, poor bastard, he's really the fucking dude who I need to honor with this whole thing. And my dad has helped me a little bit with money so I don't starve. If I didn't have that level of support, I would have died homeless long ago. I don't have the type of brain that survives homelessness. Not that I'm saying others, I understand, but like there's a lot of neurodivergent people on the streets, and things get bad for those. Anyway, I don't want to go on. I'm going to start to cry if I keep talking about that. So, all right. This went so long. God damn it. Fuck. Yeah. There we go. We've got a lot of new information, though. We now see his battle plan is to just keep lying and keep bullshitting, keep confusing. Oh no, the truth. I have to hide. Smoke bomb. That's the Cenk Uygur plan. Run, hide, like the coward he is.